but I always get nervous before all of my 400
Are we
launches.
live?
Wow.
You get a little nervous.
We're live.
Well, you know, a
We're
rocket
live.
is such an incredibly powerful and complex machine.
Housekeeping
Everything
time.
has to go right. Nothing can go wrong.
I don't think I... Yes, I did
and
announce that I was going live.
It's just, it
on
never
Twitter.
gets old. It's
Kinda,
always the
sorta.
same.
It's always exciting.
Let's get rid
Yes.
of that
And this
chat.
is a particularly
and
exciting
let's call
mission.
up
Talk a little bit about that. This is the
The
largest
EV blog
and
chat.
heaviest rover that we've ever sent to the Red Planet. So how did you configure your rocket to do this launch effectively?
Yeah,
Gotta
this
wait
is
for
our
it to
second
propagate
most
through.
powerful
There we
Atlas, the
go.
541. We
And
call it the Dominator. It's got 4
We're good to
giant
go.
SRBs, each putting
Our
out
second.
350,000 pounds of thrust
Okay,
to
through.
augment the center core.
go.
And so it has
And
got the power to get out
top
there to
chat.
Mars, as well
Live
as the
chat.
precision. It's the most accurate
One
rocket in the
more,
world.
God, your
Because when we let
privacy,
it go,
blah, blah,
it's got
blah.
about 200 million miles to travel on that transfer
And
orbit.
pop
And
out
precision
chat.
is key.
That is right, yes. So the power
Ah.
source for the Mars rover is a contained radioactive battery.
There we
I
go.
seen it up close, and we had to alter the way we behaved around that.
Fortunately,
How
it's
has that changed your
hasn't
team's
scaled
efforts?
properly.
Oh yes, the operations
like that.
around
Oh, there we
that
go,
are
it's
completely
scaled.
different.
Just
Now,
had
we
to
have a lot of
redo
experience
the
with
window.
these. We've flown all of America's RTGs,
Give
and
the
we're
housekeeping.
the only provider that is certified to handle them.
But
But
it
you
is
know, it is still
necessary.
11 pounds of plutonium, as you saw. And in this particular case, the one very special
will
thing was to
keep the chat
install
above
it
my head.
in the VIF, where we would normally never breach the containment around the
First.
spacecraft. 'Cause it has to be clean
True
and
YouTube
biological
tradition.
free.
Good on you,
But we created
Detective
a portable clean
Inspector.
room and brought this nuclear
Yes.
battery out and installed it in
Hello.
the machine while
G'day,
keeping
Whacked Man.
everything perfect.
Awesome. Can you
And
explain
you're
what the
always
diff
here,
is,
aren't you?
actually, before I let
Yeah,
that go?
Sausage
this
is
is a
here.
vertical integration facility.
I guess I better,
So these
uh,
rockets are so
tweet
gigantic.
this.
We build them in a factory, but we can't assemble them
Stand
there.
by.
Atlas and Perseverance are standing 20 stories proud right now on the pad. So they come to Canaveral in pieces on our rocket
Launch.
ship,
Hopefully I can
and then
spell.
we
I'm an
assemble
engineer,
them
I can't
in the
spell.
vertical integration facility. And normally the last thing would be to bring an encapsulated, under the fairing, perfectly clean and prepared
Okay, there we
spacecraft
go.
and put it on
And-
top, which
Oh,
we
maybe I
did,
could, like,
but then we opened it to
Facebook
install
as
the
well.
MMRTG
Currently, I have a
battery.
Facebook page.
Yeah, that came late in the process, and that was intentional.
Yes.
You mentioned there's a
And-
certification.
and-
Who certifies the rocket?
So NASA
on.
certifies the
Right.
rocket, and then NASA and the
This
Department of
Facebook so
Energy
little.
certify a provider
Sorry, once
like
again,
us
this is all
to
housekeeping
handle the
stuff. I'll be
nuclear
with
payload
everyone in a minute.
because of all these special requirements.
Very good. You know, when you were preparing for this mission,
There
you
we go.
couldn't have imagined,
And also,
a year ago that you would have a coronavirus pandemic
Oh yes.
wreaking havoc on this
on
state.
my
How
main
did you
channel, because I'm streaming this
handle
on
that,
the
and how'd you
second
overcome it?
channel.
Yes, well,
Well,
you know, one
everyone's
big lesson
streaming it
learned here
live.
is you can't
Everyone's,
buy back time. So when
Everyone,
this
every
broke
man and his
out,
dog streaming
our
it live.
response was early,
Right.
it was aggressive,
Every
and fortunately
every
it was effective.
space YouTuber
So we did all the
and their
things
dog
you
are
might be
streaming it
familiar
live.
with. You know, we wipe
How
down
many
every
space
surface
YouTubers
every
are there
hour,
now
we
these
deep
days?
clean every
Tons of 'em. It's
evening. We
great.
are wearing
Love it.
PPE. We have our teams spread out. We actually change the flow of the work to
YouTube
keep our people
EV
safe,
blog.
but to also keep these vitally important missions going. And of course, I can't say enough
And I'll
about our team.
paste it on
They're
my
so disciplined and so
community
courageous
tab
to
on
persevere
the main
through all
channel.
of this, and now to make our third launch under all of these mitigations. I'm just so proud of them.
Well, Tori Bruno, CEO
There
of
we go.
United Launch Alliance, we appreciate you being here, sharing your knowledge with us.
Okay.
Good
we
luck
go.
with the rocket launch today, and enjoy it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Don't think
Go
anyone's gonna
Atlas,
bother
go
to join me.
Perseverance.
All right.
The
Few
countdown
people
to
are
Mars
bothered
is
to
well
join me 'cause
underway.
there's so many
Let's go to our
other
launch commentator
good
team for an
space
update on the
YouTubers
pre-launch
out
efforts
there
and the
who
weather
are,
forecast. Joshua?
Hey, thanks, Moo.
Gonna
Operations
cover
this
it
morning have been really pretty
much better
quiet.
than I will.
Mick, can you tell us what's transpired to get the rocket to the point that it is today?
I know,
right at this
80,
moment?
80
Yeah,
people.
actually, Josh, it's great
What's
to have a
happened to the
quiet
chat?
countdown this morning. That means
Usually
really
if there's
good things
80
for us here in the
down?
ASOC.
No?
But the teams did come on station today
Hello?
about midnight.
Can everyone
They got on station, started
ping in?
configuring the launch vehicle, getting it ready for
this
fueling.
chat
As
is
we've been
like-
listening to them
Is it
fuel the
frozen?
first
Usually
stage
people are
Atlas
chatting
with
away.
LOX, and the second stage Centaur upper stage with cryogenics.
I assume it's
The team
frozen.
continues to do that. They've checked out the
Oh, no,
avionics,
there we go.
electrical
No, no,
systems.
no.
They've also done
Did it-
a flight termination system
I-
check with the range. So all systems are looking nominal, and the team is now currently in their T-4
Oh,
and
the
holding,
vacuum cleaner
and
out
just
next? I didn't
assessing
get
the
it.
telemetry and the launch vehicle as we get ready to lift off this morning.
Yeah, and it is a program
stream on the big
hold,
screen.
so this is part of the
Screen.
plan. This is not anything going wrong.
Fancy going to
We
Mars?
do
I
have a
do
2-hour
fancy
window
going
today,
to
but
Mars.
everything
Get
is
your
charging ahead
ass
towards
to
that
Mars.
7:50 a.m.
Not this
Eastern
ass.
liftoff time.
Well, I guess
we
it
want
is
to introduce
American.
you to a
It's
few
NASA,
of the
so
teams
okay,
involved
get
this
your
morning. We want
ass
to
to
start
Mars.
with the
your
U.S.
ass to
Space
Mars.
Force. They're
And, yep,
responsible
I've
for
got
the
the
range
t-shirt.
operations and weather activities. So, Mick, tell me about the range really
There's the
fast before
Delta.
we get this weather briefing. in
There's
just a
the
few
United
seconds.
Launch
Yes,
Alliance
the United
Delta.
States Space Force is responsible for public and personnel safety.
Pointy
here
end
at
up,
Cape Canaveral Air
flamey
Force
end
Station
down.
in Kennedy Space
Check
Center, where
number
we're launching
one.
from.
Yep.
So a very
Check.
important part of the mission today. They are one of
Check,
5
check.
teams that are
Is
working with us
the background
to launch
audio
Mars
too loud
Perseverance on its way
on the
this morning.
stream, or is the back?
And,
Should I leave the
important part of
background
that, not only public safety,
audio on
but
or
is they
off?
also do weather for
I can
us to
see
make
on my
sure that
level
everything
meters
looks
here.
good.
It's,
As we saw that
my
sunrise
voice
this
is
morning come up
probably
right behind,
louder than the
everything was
background.
looking good,
Mick.
so.
Archie?
What rocket is this? It's a United Launch Alliance Delta 5. Delta 4. What is it? Foreground too loud. Just a good levels. It's okay. Yes. All right. Okay. Well, I'll leave the audio in the background running. Though no one's
Sorry,
talking at the moment.
we thought we were going to get that for you live, and
Oh,
apparently
there we go.
the audio
29
is
minutes.
on another channel.
Has
Forgive
anyone,
us.
I haven't been
we-
following any updates. I assume that, well, the weather looks good. Like there's no clouds. And those clouds in the, well, there's a few, but they ain't moving. Right? So I presume that we're good to go. What time is it over there?
All LCCs and expected to remain go through the count.
AM, so it's in the
The
morning.
temperature is
Cape
currently
Canaveral?
80 degrees. Could climb
In
to
the morning?
82 by the end of the window. Winds are currently from 220.
So
8 knots
9:50
sustained with
p.m.
peaks to 10
here in
knots.
Sydney. A
10%
day.
POV
Or,
for
no,
the cumulus
same
cloud
same
roll.
day. Same
Proton
day.
flux is at normal background levels and expected to remain so
Because
through
it's
the
on.
count.
We're on the
This
east
concludes
coast
the
of
weather
Yankee
briefing.
land.
Unless there are any questions?
All right.
All right, so I think we're in good shape. We heard a great report there. Again, hearing the go on all LCCs, launch.
Where we go.
Absolutely.
LCC.
Launch
my-
commit
launch
launch
commit
commit criteria.
I can never remember the second C. Appreciate that. So tell us about the T clock, because obviously we mentioned we're at T minus 4
Flat
minutes of
Earthers.
holding.
Oh, goodness.
So we have a difference here in these two
Oh,
clocks
sorry,
today.
I'm
Yes, so
reading.
the
I'm
teams actually
looking
are
at the
working
wrong
to two
chat.
different
Oh,
clocks. The
I'm
L
looking at
clock,
the
or
wrong
what we call
chat.
the launch time, or L
Hang
minus
on.
time,
What
is
am
the
I-
real-time clock,
hang on.
which continues to count down towards liftoff.
There we go.
T time, that's the clock
That's
that the team
confusing.
uses for operational sequences of events
My head's in
in
the
the
way.
procedure. This time has built-in holds in it,
What is
one
my
of
head
which
in the
we're in
way
right now,
of?
30-minute hold, which allows the team to adjust things that they need to do throughout
12:20
the
p.m. in
countdown
London.
tonight. So the L clock will continue counting down, and what's unique about this
We
is
get
that
it
L
at
minus
apes.
4 or T minus 4 as we pick up the count, these two clocks will sync up, and we will count down
What
to liftoff
pad
this
are we
morning.
on?
One
Does
of the things
anyone
we
know?
want to kind of piggyback off of the weather briefing for is to talk
Yeah,
about
we're
the
going
power
fine with
source for
COVID.
Perseverance.
No
Perseverance
worries
actually
here.
has a nuclear
like
battery,
nothing's happening.
which that might be a little bit alarming
Can't
for
say the
people to
same
hear
for
that.
Melbourne,
It's not a nuclear
but,
reactor; it's a nuclear
here in
battery.
Sydney, here in New
and
South
it's actually
Wales.
something that has been developed
Yeah.
by the Department of Energy
It's a
for
nothing
this
burger.
kind of a purpose. It's a multi-mission radioisotope thermoelectric generator, which is a mouthful. But it's an MMRTG. It's roughly the size of a 5-gallon bucket.
Yep, the RTG,
and it
yep.
is designed to actually make
5
How
gallons.
does
What's
this actually
5
produce
gallons?
power for the robot?
So it's using.
Does anyone else outside the
nuclear
US
material
have
inside, right,
any
to
clue what a
generate,
gallon
the
is?
electricity that's there. Starting off the
It
mission
is
today,
so
it'll be about
unfamiliar to
110
me what a
watts of
gallon
power
is. I
that
wouldn't
provides
know
the
if,
spacecraft
like,
to lift off. And it'll
know,
provide
feet
power
to
for
inches
Mars
and,
Perseverance,
pounds to
throughout its whole
kilos and
mission
all that
life.
sort of stuff.
So
But,
that's the unique
gallons
thing
to
about this
liters,
battery
I
source
don't know
that's-
off the
that's
top of my
pretty
head.
neat, is,
It's
that,
something
it will
I've
continue
never
for the whole
bothered to
time.
memorize because
The Atlas V has a perfect launch record.
It's not used in a
so it's
single
in good
thing
shape.
outside of
So we're
Yankee
not
Land, is
expecting
it?
any problems, but if there were a contingency today, we'd want you to stay with us to
18
talk through
cases
some
in
of the
Sydney.
details, and we'll be providing
Whoop-de-doo!
advisories. We have
It's
teams that have been
been
focused
like
on this
10,
specifically, and they're
12.
working
It's
towards
been
making sure that
between
everybody is safe
5 and
and our robotic
20
explorers are
cases
safe
for
as
the
well.
last
So,
3
that's
months.
going to do it for
So
now.
what?
A great weather briefing. We'll send it back over to
4
you,
liters,
Daryl,
is
and
it? 4 liters per
Thanks,
gallon.
Joshua.
Okay, mental
With
note.
the countdown to Mars
Thank you.
well underway, we want to take
Well
a
underway.
moment to honor our country with the singing of America the Beautiful.
Oh,
We
God,
are proud
no.
to present to you now
America the
two-time
Beautiful,
Grammy
that's not
Award-winning
the,
singer Gregory Porter.
That's not the Star Spangled Banner. That's not the. I have no idea who this dude is. Wasn't listening, probably. America the Beautiful.
Lord
I don't know. What
Blaze,
is
come on
America the
now.
Beautiful? Is that the
Good
equivalent
morning.
of like Waltzing Matilda here in Australia or something? I don't know. Yeah. Well, I do know that The US have the worst national anthem of all time, and even Americans agree with me. Even the Yanks agree. And they have the worst national anthem on the planet. It is just awful. 4.5 litres, someone's saying. Yeah, I know a 5-gallon bucket is common. I'm gonna turn it down. I can't stand. No. He decorated his living room in the 1950s. Oh, not quite. No, that style's back in. It's got some thumping speakers. Are they BWDs? Sorry, BWD. B&Ws. Are they B&Ws? Fahrenheit, yeah. Oh, no, someone's more precise. Thank you, Hackology. 4.54609. Yeah, we'll round it to 4.5. Good enough for Australia. No wuckers. 1 gallon, approximately 1 V8 engine. See, I don't know the capacity. Oh, 5.8 litre is is that a V8 engine typically? A 5.8 litre? For like 5 litre, 5.5 litre? V8, I know, most V8s are around, 5-ish. They're in the 5 to 6 region, aren't they? Far too hung up on flags. Diamond Tweeter. I have no idea who that guy is.
The beautiful baritone voice of Grammy Award-winning singer Gregory Porter. That was
Gregory Porter, Grammy Award-winning. Okay.
So emotional.
Fair enough. So emotional, yeah.
See some rockets.
Rah, American. America, USA.
Thank you very much, Mr. Porter. We appreciate that. So, Perseverance will seek to unlock
reminder
many
that Pounds
mysteries
units made a
about
small
Mars,
crater on
but remote
Mars.
scientific
Yes, they
instruments
did.
Can only go so far.
Joining us now to talk about returning Mars samples
We'll
back
find
to
it one
Earth
day.
is Dr. Lori
Well,
Grace,
they've found it. They
Director
found
of
the
NASA's
impact
Planetary
crater,
Science
but we'll
Division.
visit it
Thank you so much
one
for
day.
joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Happy to be here.
Yeah. First, can you talk to us about the value of studying Mars samples here on
it.
Earth?
You bet.
Commentary.
So, one
not
of the
really
most
doing
exciting
any
parts of this
commentary,
mission,
but
of course,
thanks.
is that we're going to drill samples.
Mars,
We're
what's...
gonna go back
Oh, I
to
love
Mars
the
and
A.
pick
I
up
haven't seen
and
that
bring
before.
back to Earth.
I haven't seen
And
the
part of the
A
reason for that
as
is
the rover.
The main reason
That's
is
very cool.
that we can only go so
That's
far
very cool.
with the instruments that
Whoever
we have
did
on
the
the rover. They're wonderful. It's a great suite, but nothing
logo
compared
for that.
to the state-of-the-art instruments in the laboratories around the world.
22
so we
minutes
really want to get those
left.
precious samples back here so that we can do that.
I know her.
Really
She's been
in-depth
on
analysis of the samples here.
she's been
In
on all
addition
the
to
Mars
that,
projects.
Not only do we want to study them now,
Well, on all the
today
Mars
with those
rovers.
state-of-the-art instruments and facilities, we can preserve actually most of the sample for decades.
T-minus
and that will allow
22.
us to use
There it
future
is.
instruments that haven't even been invented yet, or answer questions. we
fine,
haven't even
thank
thought of
you,
yet.
G2
So
Leaks.
it's really important to get those samples back here.
And could we confirm life if it is there with the instruments we have on the rover, or would that actually happen?
I don't think they're going to find
fully
life. I think
expect we
there's,
won't be able to make that
if
real
they're lucky,
determination until they're back
really
here on
lucky
Earth. We
remnants,
expect with
like
the instruments
ancient
we have on board
remnants,
to
but
be able to detect biosignatures
I
and the
think it's
types
a
of
foregone
things that say,
conclusion
yes,
that
this is a sample that may
that
contain
life is not going to
evidence of
like
past
microbes.
life in the
it's
samples.
possible.
But I think it would be very difficult
but
to confirm that until we actually get
I
the
don't think
samples
so.
back here on Earth.
Speaking of getting them back here to Earth, the key
I
part
think
of
it's
this,
probably
how will
50-50
you
that
do
they
that?
that there
That's a great
was
question.
never any
We're
life on
already
Mars.
starting work
As much as
on
I'd
that
like there
next
to be.
mission called Mars
is-
Sample Return.
but
We think it's
yeah,
going to launch. We're planning
it's-
for a launch in 2026. This is a really complex
Although it had the
mission. It's
conditions.
going to
Nobody
require
doubts that it
2
used
launches
to have
from
the
Earth
conditions,
and 1
but,
launch from Mars in order
yeah.
to get those samples back here.
Wow.
We're
I
working
don't think
really closely with the European Space
panspermia
Agency,
happened.
our
I think
core
it
partners on this
started
mission.
here,
So we'll have a
perhaps.
launch from the U.S., which will
I think
launch
that's
a-
more
launch
likely
a
than
sample return
not.
lander that will land on the surface carrying a fetch rover.
Oh,
that will
dude.
go out and pick up the samples.
Toto
bring them
crafting.
back,
Seriously,
load
you
them
didn't know
into
there's a new Mars
rocket,
rover?
the Mars Ascent vehicle,
Seriously.
and launch them into orbit around Mars.
Yeah,
At the same
190
time,
people
when we
watching
launched
now.
from
That's
Earth,
not
the
bad for a
Europeans
second
are
channel,
also
and
launching
considering
an
that all the
orbiter
other space
from
YouTubers
Earth
are
that will
going
be
to
in
be
orbit around Mars, and
they're
it will
going to be
capture
shooting the
those
crap out of
samples
this.
with
They're
that
they're
orbiter.
probably
We're
like
gonna
down
capture
there
them,
with their
and then it will
live standing
make its
there
return
in front of the
trip back
rocket.
to
You
Earth,
know, I don't want to go
Release
check
them
out
and
the
they'll
other
come down
space
and land in the
YouTubing
Utah
channels,
desert,
but man,
where we will
haven't
then
space
safely
YouTube
bury
channels
them
come
and put
along
them in the curation facility.
in the last like
Wow,
5
what a
years,
process.
like not
Awesome.
even
That is
5.
so amazing.
Like
Thank
last
you
like
so much,
3
Lori, for
years,
joining
they've
us today. We appreciate your
exploded.
time. Enjoy the launch.
Absolutely
Get a view.
exploded.
Yeah, go Perseverance, go
Space
Ingenuity.
channels and
Right,
you know
Lori. Well, in the
space
early
and astronomy
1900s, the
and
Wright brothers
it's just
proved powered
unbelievable.
flight was possible
Too
on
much
Earth.
choice. There's
Now,
just so
NASA
many of them.
plans to
Can't keep
test a
up.
powered flight
There's like
on Mars
I
with
subscribe
an
to like half a
ingenious
dozen
helicopter. So let's
channels,
get back
and
out
they're
to
like, you
California
just-
now, and Raquel, the Martian atmosphere
incredible.
is 99% less dense than here on Earth. So this is no easy
yeah, early
task
signs
to
of
fly
life
on Mars.
habitable, but yeah.
It is, Daryl. Now, hitching a ride on the Perseverance rover is an exciting
Yanks are only looking
technology
for oil
demonstration.
anyway.
The Mars Ingenuity helicopter.
We'll
now, if
have a
successful,
colony
it would
there if
mark
they
the
strike
first
oil.
time
We'll have a
humans have
colony
taken
there.
powered flight on another
Tomorrow.
planet. Ingenuity's project manager, Mimi Ung, joins
yep,
us now
21
to
minutes,
talk
19
about
minutes.
the set of milestones Ingenuity needs to hit in order to take flight on Mars.
Hi, by the way, we just had an earthquake in this room. But anyway, with that.
What? Earthquake?
Mars Helicopter Tech Demo is motivated by the potential of adding the aerial dimension to space exploration.
Oh, she's the project
In
manager for
future,
the
a helicopter
Ingenuity.
can serve as a scout for rovers.
There it is
and
in the background
astronauts.
there.
A helicopter can get us
It
to
should
places
work.
of high scientific interest.
I
cannot
don't
be
doubt
reached
it's going to
today.
work. Like a lot of
It's
people are
not
going,
easy
oh,
to
I don't
build
know,
a
I don't know,
rotorcraft
but
for
you can
flight
just
at
do the
Mars.
calculations, and
The
they've
atmosphere there is
tested
very
it in a
thin,
vacuum
about
chamber.
1%
Well,
compared to
a
that on
reduced
Earth. So
reduced
a
pressure
helicopter from
chamber,
Mars has to be
and
very
it
light
flew.
and have
So
a rotor
I-
system that can spin
like,
very
you know,
fast.
you can
Behind me
calculate that
is
a
the
helicopter can
full-scale
fly on
model of
Earth.
Mars
You can
Helicopter
calculate that a
Ingenuity.
helicopter can fly
It's
on
very
Mars.
light, 1.8 kilograms, about
Yep.
4 pounds. It's
Weighs
capable
1.8
of flying
kilos.
through the thin atmosphere of Mars and is capable of surviving and operating autonomously.
We'll have a listen.
There is a set of milestones between now and Ingenuity's first flight. The very first one is
I
when we
probably
turn
should
on the
actually-
helicopter
what
and
I'll
the
do
base station to check their health.
To prevent
First time operating in true space environment.
feedback into the mic.
The next major milestone
whack
will
my
be when
headphones in.
Perseverance rover deploys Ingenuity helicopter to
Headphones,
the surface.
earbuds.
The deployment will also mark the first moment the helicopter
I used
starts
to use
work
like
on
big
its own in a standalone
big
manner.
monitor
It will never
headphones,
return
but
to the rover.
and
the first major
I don't like wearing them with the
milestone then
glasses,
will be the
so
helicopter
because it
surviving
just
the
it feels
first cold
uncomfortable.
Martian night, about minus
So I use the
minus
earbuds
90
now.
degrees Celsius.
Not as
and
good.
we've designed the helicopter to keep itself
What do you
warm.
expect?
So we've planned for up to 5 flights in the 30 Martian days that have been set aside for our flight
I don't know why
experiments.
they're built.
The
I don't
flight
know
data
why
we
they're
get
not
from the
using
helicopter will inform our
SpaceX. If
team
anyone knows
the
for
health of the
sure,
helicopter and
because
performance
they
of each
would have
flight.
booked this like years ago.
The
Like this has
data
been in the
could
works for
also include
you know
a few color photos.
so a long time.
First
So they
ever
probably
photos
and
of Martian
United
terrain
Launch
taken
Alliance. This
from
is such a
AeroVantage. That
pivotal
would be
project.
true
United
icing
Launch
on our
Alliance has a better track record than
Mimi, thank you.
space.
And
Well,
you're right, we
it's
did
just
have a
has
little
more
bit of
missions
shakeup,
under its belt.
But everything
you know.
seems to be okay
So
right
it's
here
it's
so far.
on paper
and
it's a
we
safer
look
bet.
forward to Ingenuity's first flight. And with that,
But yeah, I
let's sit
don't
back
know
and
why
see
they're using
as
it. But
we
United
continue
Launch
the
Alliance
countdown to
specializing in
Mars.
custom
All right,
making,
thank you, Raquel.
custom
When the
missions
name
for
Perseverance was chosen for the rover,
I
our
don't-
country was in the early stages of
SpaceX
the
haven't
COVID-19
launched
pandemic.
anything.
Now the name is also a fitting description
any
of what NASA teams
solar
needed to get this rover
system
to the
probe. Have
pad
they? I mean, they've
on
launched
time.
they've
Joining
launched the
us now
Tesla,
is NASA
but they
Administrator
haven't actually launched.
Jim
So you
Bridenstine.
wouldn't.
Thank you very much for
A mission
being
of
here,
this
Jim.
importance, I don't think you'd
Perseverance
put
is
to
meaning a lot,
SpaceX.
and that includes recently a 3.9
Yet I don't
earthquake that
think.
we have reports of in
I don't know.
California.
But
We
as I
just saw
said,
our
like
own
it was
Mimi
booked
Young.
years ago.
She said things were
Pro-
rattling
most
there.
likely.
So we are persevering
So,
a lot.
Probably signed a
not
contract
launching
like
from Vandenberg today.
You're absolutely right about
how
that.
long ago
It's looking
since
good
they
here
started
in
work
Florida.
on it?
I want to ask you,
If anyone wants
why
to
did
chime
we
in, I don't know.
choose- Why did you choose to move NASA forward on this launch?
Oh,
in the
come
midst of the
on!
global
They've
pandemic?
got the COVID screens.
Oh, there's a number of reasons.
Come
But I
on.
think the biggest thing
Come
is,
on.
the public wants to see the United States of America and our international partners do stunning things. And
Oh, there's Jim.
We have a history of doing amazing things in the most challenging times, and this is no different.
Yeah, it's as old as the whenever they signed the first contract, they would have had to, they would have had to choose a launch system, and they just signed United Launch Alliance because they're the ones who do them all.
And if we miss this launch window, it would cost us $500
It can just
billion
barely get
to
off the
store
ground, but
this
that's all you
vehicle
need.
for the next 2 years.
Done, Pierce.
And
That's
so
all you need is
there's
just
a
to
lot
get
of
off the
reasons
ground.
to go forward. some of it is
Oh,
you know,
not certified for
financial,
nuclear
the
launches.
NASA
Yeah,
budget,
fair enough. It does have an
you know, and
RTG
then
on
the other-
board.
the
Good
other
point.
big reason is
That
Americans want to see us continue to do big things. I want to be really clear though.
that could be
we have made sure that
that
all
could be the
along
reason,
this
certainly.
process, if somebody didn't feel comfortable working on this project,
Yeah, it's got to
they
go at
had the
3,000
option to
RPM.
not
Cool.
work on this project. And I will tell you, we didn't find that very often, if at all.
Yeah, the Dragon
I
Crew
will-
are coming
I will
back on the
also
first. I
say
didn't know they were up there
our-
for that
our
long.
highest priority
I thought they were only up there
was
for like
the
a week.
safety of our people, and we wanted them to know that
I'm
if they come
screaming.
to work,
What?
they're going to be safer at work than they would be if they stayed at home.
Am I talking too loud?
And of course the personal
So the
protective
audio is still good in
equipment,
the
social
background, the background audio
distancing,
level?
the
If it
changing
is, I'll
of
keep it at
schedules
that.
in order to minimize people working on the vehicle at one time. All of these things were put into place as protective measures, but it is true. The name Perseverance, which was given to this robot by Alex
Mars is
Mather,
cool.
who's a
We have to
7th
explore
grader in
Mars
Virginia. This is all about perseverance and going to Mars. As you
Yeah, I'm
said,
talking about the background audio
going to Mars
in
is all
particular.
about persevering
Everyone says
in
it's
general.
fine, but yeah.
Doing it now is
Yep.
more persevering
Cool.
than ever before.
Real quick, we've got to launch.
I know
of
my
course,
audio's
counting down. How
okay.
you feeling?
Well, nervous as always. This is a lot of money at the top of a rocket, and of course
A
not
lot of
just the
money.
money, but
Nervous.
the
All he cares about
entire
is the money.
life's work of so
Sure,
many
he cares more, but, you
thousands
know.
of people. So
That's
look,
just what it
it's
came
going to be
across
a good
as.
day. We're knocking on wood, but it's going to be a good day for NASA.
Thank you very much for being here, Jim. Appreciate
Always.
your
Thank
leadership.
you.
Another person didn't even know there was a new
much.
rover.
We are now at L minus 14 minutes and counting. Let's check back
L
in with Joshua and Mick, get an
T.
update on preparations to launch the rocket. Joshua, there's an
14
important
minutes.
poll by the Launch Services Program happening soon, right?
Yes, absolutely. So the countdown is continuing.
She's got that
obviously,
perky
a
American
status report, we
preppy
heard
voice.
them talking about the earthquake,
Like
and everything is
mannerisms.
still good. We're hearing that
It's
on
fun.
the back end that things are proceeding well. No major issues or hiccups because of that. Everything going well. The savvy viewers out there will notice the
Background's
clocks
a bit
in
loud.
motion. 2 clocks actually. The countdown clock there behind Daryl and Moo is at 4 minutes and holding. Excuse me, at T minus 4 minutes and holding. But the clock on your screen now is the L clock, and that is continuing to count down towards that 7:50 a.m. liftoff time.
Cool.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Josh. As we talked earlier, the L time is the real-time
right.
clock that continues to count down to 0. At T minus 4 and counting, the two
Gotcha.
clocks, the T clock and the L clock, will sync
There
up
you go.
as the team continues to work their operational sequence of
Thank
events
you
and
for the
procedures.
clarification.
So, team is very focused this morning. As you already mentioned, the earthquake that was brought up. The team
Does anyone
has
know if
assessed
it's
that, looked at it,
insured?
They're doing a great job and getting us to 0 this morning.
Can you
So we
insure? I
mentioned
know you can
the
insure
US Space
satellite
Force as
launches,
one of the
but can
5
you
teams
insure
earlier.
something
And next
as
up we
big
have
as this?
the NASA Launch
Does
Services
anyone
Program
know?
team
Can anyone Google that
responsible for
quickly?
managing the launch. And
I
we're gonna
won't
hear a poll
Google. I
here
don't
from
want to
the
go
NASA
off the
launch
screen
manager,
here, but
himself, Omar Baez, he's going to pull
maybe-
his team
maybe I can.
for their readiness to be able to report out in just a few minutes. So he's very punctual, so this should be coming right on time here in just a few seconds. Let's listen in now.
This is the NLM on the NLM net. Currently working, no issues on the range or the launch vehicle. Weather is green, 10% chance of violation, and winds aloft look good for the entire window.
Geez, your audio sucks, dude.
The,
How we
spacecraft
getting to Mars if we can't even
experienced some
communicate
earthquake
between
activity at their control center in Pasadena, but appears to be ready to proceed.
different?
And with that, I would like to poll the team
I don't
for
know.
final launch poll
Immediate
and
Google.
spacecraft configuration. NASA CE.
NASA CE is go.
No.
SMA.
I can't find anything
SMA,
immediately
go.
on whether or not it's insured.
SMD.
SMD is go.
NASA Mission Manager.
NASA mission manager is go.
Oh, yeah, you don't know who dislikes.
LSP is go.
Go.
NASA team is ready to proceed.
Yep, we go.
All right, so we heard NASA team is ready to proceed. He even mentioned the weather in there, which is great, only a 10% chance of
Yeah,
violation.
we go.
Again, a big thank you to Jessica
Who
Williams.
would
the
downvote
US
it?
Space Force,
Who would
45th
downvote
Space
this
Lab.
video?
I
The
like
serial
the fact that
haters.
We're working no issues this morning
Within
for this
minutes,
count.
usually
That's an
within
important
minutes
part
of
that Omar
uploading
brought
a
up.
video.
And,
If it's if I
the team,
upload in the
you know,
US time
one thing you
slot,
need to
most of the
understand with
haters are
NLM is
US.
It's a combined NASA
It's
team of
just the
spacecraft
way it is.
and engineering.
And
so hearing all those goes.
they
is good
will,
this morning.
yeah, they'll
Yep, and we're
downvote
gonna keep moving 'cause we got a lot
without
to do
even watching
still.
the video.
We're gonna throw it back out to you, Daryl.
Yeah, serial
All right,
haters.
thank you
Every
very much,
YouTuber
Joshua.
gets
Our
them once you
NASA
get big
teams
enough.
across the country overcame challenges
ULA
caused by
covers
the
it if it
COVID-19
blows up.
outbreak,
Really?
as you've heard so
Whacked
far,
man. That's
to get this
interesting.
Mars rover to the launch pad on time.
Ah,
We're
the insurance
about to hear
coverage,
from
10%.
workers at centers in California and Florida who took every imaginable precaution while managing to get this vital work done.
When I saw the country
The US
shutting
government
down,
serves as insurance, yeah.
I thought for
Yeah.
sure
there is no way we're going to be able to continue this.
It's something that nobody expected. It's something nobody could plan for.
Rather than your
Yeah,
first
the
priority being mission success, and
everyday astronaut, yeah,
getting
you
to
probably
the
know.
launch pad,
He's getting lots
your
of
first
access
priority
now.
Immediately gets displaced, and it's now
I'm jealous.
the safety of the people.
I was seriously thinking Mars would be Mars 2022.
Oh, they
It
didn't
took
think
a
they were
lot
going to
of
make
work
it.
to put stuff together in order to
Yeah, when you've got that 2-year launch window, you've got to make it.
safely, keep them healthy.
Got to make it or bust. Well, not bust, but
on
2-year
schedule.
bust.
There's no doubt that working in isolation, not virtual isolation, but in physical isolation from everyone else.
Has he been
is a
promoted
challenge.
since last time?
It's hard for
Chief
me. I
engineer?
have
He
two
wasn't
young
chief.
kids. Sometimes
He
I'm
wasn't.
not
He
able
was
to
like chief
focus or
mission.
listen probably as well as I
Mission.
would want to.
A lot
You know,
of our
head.
work was occurring in a clean
Mission
room
head. Now they're
anyways,
saying
but
chief
that
engineer,
meant
but
that even
maybe
before
he's
we entered the clean room,
still the same.
we had to find ways of ensuring that
They had to pay for
we
one
were
that
not
blew
putting
up a few
ourselves
years
or
ago.
others at risk.
Really? Yeah,
Most
yes,
of the
he's
time
Elon's
for
mate.
these
Yeah.
missions, our relation with the
Stop
spacecraft
taking the
customer
masks
is
off,
incredibly
just-
important. So usually we're able to be here working beside them
Like,
on their equipment.
they
and
have to
making sure
edit
that
in
all
the
of their needs
shot,
are covered
taking
before
off
they
the
ask for
mask.
It is a challenge, but we're used to
Unbelievable.
meeting unique requirements here at the hangar, and we pride ourselves in our flexibility.
You know, there's somebody there.
another
Somebody's
mission,
making a
just a different
decision,
setup.
editing that, you know.
Obstacles
Or
that we
and
have
when they're
built up
shooting
might
it,
not
going,
be
oh, you have to.
like a
We
broken
need a coverage shot of where you walk in and take the mask off, just to show that everyone
Our
that
job is to go
we're
into
being
the
good
unknown.
little peeps
And
here at
this
NASA.
is just
you know,
another
like,
example of the unknown. How to make this job happen when you're doing it largely through a computer screen.
yeah,
I
that
asked
must
the
be
team a
hard.
couple months ago if they would like to do something to.
I hope they
kinda
don't come
symbolize
Augusta
and mark
because of
these
that.
challenges that we faced, and they designed something that we called a COVID-19 Perseverance plate that's now affixed
What?
to the port side of the rover. It has a globe representing all of us that face this challenge together. The spacecraft leaving the Earth on its way to
COVID-19
Mars, and
Perseverance,
all of this
right.
supported by the now familiar staff and servant of the medical community. And we
Ah,
hope that
right,
this
okay.
mission, in
Gotcha.
some small way, can inspire them in return.
Yeah, fair enough. Must have been hard on them.
Pretty much everybody that I've talked to,
Well, the whole thing's been hard on
associated with the
everyone,
mission
in every
has-
industry.
has said the same thing. Which you could not have come up with a better name than Perseverance.
We have persevered
Mars rover
through
is responsible for
nobody's given
COVID.
up. We will get this mission done. We will get it done. through
My
the
my
pandemic.
submission, my name submission, I
it's a
put
really
in.
important
Oh, they
symbol
got it.
of humanity
the mask back
hopefully
on.
persevering through this great challenging
Oh,
time
because
that
they're
we have
doing
right
it
now.
right. This whole segment's on persevering through the COVID thing, and
We
hence that's the
appreciate
name of the
that team
rover.
as well as the
Well, they
medical
named the
community
rover
that really
before
stepped
they
up and helped. And it's ironic, Moo, because
Name
the
this.
name Perseverance was chosen by a 7th grader who, at the time he submitted that name, he didn't know that we would be faced with a global pandemic.
Yeah.
So we are
Yeah,
glad to
my
have him
my
and his
name that I
family
submitted
here,
was
along
the
with student who named the
was the
helicopter
Carl
to
Sagan
watch the
rover or
launch
the Sagan
in person.
rover.
Their names are Alexander Mather and Vanessa Rupani.
But,
and
no,
they are
they went
watching
with
from
the-
the 5th floor balcony
followed
of our
on the-
engineering building, just a stone's throw away.
Oh,
from
is that the
countdown
dude that
clock.
named it?
Look at
Cool.
that! There they
Good
are,
on him.
There they
looking
are.
cool.
Good on him.
Alexander Mather, who goes to Lake Braddock Secondary School in Burke, Virginia, submitted the winning essay to name our rover Perseverance.
Yeah,
I think
they've got a
I'm
great
sure there's
view.
like
I've
hundreds
seen
of
it
people
from
who
up there.
submitted
They've got the
Perseverance, so I'm sure he
VAD
wasn't
in
the only
background,
one.
as you can see there. So
cool.
it's such a beautiful setup for this.
So I think it
awesome
was a
launch.
popular
and
name.
Vanessa, you can see her. And they're waving. Hey guys,
6 different
appreciate
adapters
you.
on that torque wrench.
She's a
Yeah,
junior at
everything's.
Tuscaloosa County High School in Northport, Alabama. She entered the contest as well and came up with the name Ingenuity for our helicopter that will accompany our rover
Oh,
to
she
Mars.
named
Thank you both
Ingenuity
for being
the
here. What a neat
copter.
view that is.
Ingenuity's pretty good. Like
All
that
right, folks,
for
with the
the
coast phase coming
for the
up, we
copter.
want to let you know that after the launch, it will be about an hour before Mars Perseverance separates from the second stage. When that
6
and
minutes.
when that happens, the rover will then be on its way to Mars. So hang in there.
Yeah, don't go away as we will walk you through the flight around the Earth, and we'll talk live with the astronaut Zena Cardman.
Yeah, I got
about
my
our
name
human
on the
exploration
nameplate
ambitions,
thing. I'm pretty
and
sure I
NASA's
did.
Associate Administrator of
Oh, it's
Science,
not on the
Dr.
DNA.
Thomas
It's on a
Zurbuchen.
chip.
It's going to be great, folks. So stick around.
There's
It's
like
L
3 or 4
6
like
minutes
silicon
and
dyes
26
on there
seconds
with
now. And
all the
time to
names
focus our attention
etched.
on the launch operation the rest of the way to liftoff. So let's send it back out to Mick Woltman and Joshua Santorin. Gentlemen.
Yeah, the COVID
Thank you.
screens
I wanna
look
let you listen
bulletproof,
to the-
don't they?
To the remainder of this poll in motion. Let's go to that now.
Range coordinates.
Marvin. Yeah, I like Marvin. Marvin's good.
Is go, and you
Marvin's a good name, Sausage. Yep.
proceeding with the count.
Oh, proceeding.
ALC, verify T0 is set for 1150 Zulu.
Yep. We're set.
So 1150 Zulu. That is 7:50
This
a.m.
is so amateur.
Eastern time.
What are you talking about?
So
The
that
coverage?
time is correct.
My coverage?
I'm
Theirs?
watching Josh do
I know
the
mine.
calculations on his finger.
Get my advocates out.
That's
No,
right.
no. So
I
there's
don't
a
have,
lot to
like, I
come
didn't
ahead.
research. I don't
One of
have
the
all the
things
facts
coming
and
up,
figures to tell you
in
and
just
everything else.
a few
I'm
seconds.
just here to watch it, and if anyone
OS
is
Tennessee.
too bored to be
Go
watching
ahead.
and not watching the
Spacecraft
real
on
space
internal power and timer set for
YouTubers
T0
cover it,
of 1150
I
Zulu.
can't listen to Americans
OS,
virtue
start
signaling.
with
They
data
do a
capture.
lot of it.
Roger.
Fantastic.
All steps are complete prior to terminal count. LC
6.5 months, is it? Red Wing? Bird? That's
Awesome.
a quick
so
trip.
Things are really starting to pick up here. You're going to hear more and more chatter on those nets there.
Have they
That
got
call
more?
was to say that
How long
Perseverance
did
is powered and
Curiosity
ready
take
go,
to get to
which is a
Mars? Does anyone
phenomenal
know?
Yeah, a couple things happened
Is
during that
this
time,
one
right?
quicker?
As,
Have they got
launch
a
conductor, ULA's launch
a
conductor,
quicker?
Scott Barney pulled the whole ULA team. They were all go. We got
A
the
better
third
launch?
of our 5 teams. The third
You
of our 5
know,
teams. We
they
got
got
to hear
more
the
boost?
end of that where the range was clear to proceed. And ULA's launch director,
Excellent,
Bill Cullen,
Ashlyn
gave
Black.
the authority to go for
He's
launch
working
this
hard on
morning at
cool
7:50
projects to show
a.m.
potential
Then we
employers.
got to hear
Awesome.
From the
You've
JPL
seen my recent
spacecraft
videos
team
on that.
they are
The
on-
fourth team.
The fourth team, that they are on internal power, and timers are set. They are targeting a liftoff of 7:50 a.m. this
Anyway,
morning.
checklist.
So all things
Pointy-
are looking good
pointy
for us,
end up,
Joshua, this morning. It's
flamey end
You know,
down.
we talk about being nervous and excited. This is right here where
Stuff
we're
coming
nervous
out.
and excited.
Check, check.
There are a lot of things happening as we get ready to count
It's
down.
just a standard Holman
to,
transfer. You
the
don't get a
liftoff
choice.
This morning. We have about 15 seconds left in this hole before
No,
we pick
but
up
you
the count.
would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we're going to listen into
I
that.
think the
the fifth
Holman's
team,
not
the one we haven't mentioned
a-
yet, is the Department of Energy, who is
So
responsible
it depends.
for
You
the
can
NMRT
launch
power
later or
source
earlier
for
depending on the
Perseverance.
amount of thrust you have. Am I
3,
wrong? Am I
2,
wrong?
1, mark.
Mark, there we
Awesome.
go.
So this is now the terminal countdown. This is that time when
Woohoo!
things become more and more automated over the next couple minutes, few minutes. And
Yeah,
the,
more
the energy's
automated.
building, but the
G'day,
focus
Cobbers.
is increasing
Hey,
exponentially.
Toby.
Yeah, as Tori said during
How you
his
doing, mate?
interview, you know, the teams are very disciplined, very focused on what they're doing, the operational sequence of events that they're
Rockety
following.
McRocket
They're make sure
face.
everything happens,
But
especially
it's not a
in this
rocket.
T-4 and counting
It's a
period,
rover.
because there's a lot of things they have to do. They have to finish topping the vehicle, make sure
And
that
it's
all
huge.
the
The
tanks,
thing's
first
absolutely
stage,
enormous.
second stage on Centaur
It's just-
are at flight pressures.
It's unbelievable
and
how
full of
big it
fuel,
is.
ready to go for this morning. They have to make sure the FTS system is armed and ready for personnel safety. Just
Brain
in
the
case,
size of a
so that
planet,
the
they got
range
me
can be
parking
at.
cars.
They have to check the electrical and avionics systems. They have to make sure that the flight
They should
computer
stop
has
doing
all the
contests and naming
information it
crafts
needs
after
to
random
place
stuff and
Mark
naming after the
2020
people who
into orbit. It
contributed
has
the
to.
most in the
So a
area.
lot of
That's what I
things going
thought.
on.
You know,
Exciting time
That's what
for
I
the
thought,
team
yeah.
right now. But
I mean,
again,
Cole
staying
Sagan
focused
contributed
and
so
following that
much.
procedure
He
they've
was,
got.
you know, the planetary
As we look ahead
scientist.
to post liftoff, want to kind of preview for you what's going to happen because there's going to be a lot going on. You're not going to hear from
Do
much
I
from
have
us.
Twitter?
You'll actually be hearing from the ULA
Kid
flight
behind
commentator,
computers?
Jesse
Do I have
Gonzalez.
Twitter?
He'll
I've
be
got
kind of getting
40,000
those
followers
calls
on
past
Twitter.
liftoff
Of
that
course
will
I
walk
have
us
Twitter.
through maximum dynamic pressure and into
Flamey
SRB
end down.
separation.
Yep.
And then
Check.
into fairing separation, booster separation, and then
Oh, right, the Holman
first
transfer is
main
minimum
engine
energy, is it?
ignition
Okay.
Of the Centaur,
yes.
Right.
RL-10. And so then you'll kind of hear us jump back in and help provide some more context to what's going on. We encourage you
I
to stay
should
with
go
us for the
full
rest of the
screen
show. There's
closer
a
to
ton
launch.
more
No, not
content we have
really,
to bring you, and
because
we
we're
are
not
far
going to
from
get
over.
much
Wanna
detail,
emphasize
and
that the
then
countdown
I
to
want
Mars
the
is
chat
not
window to
done
be there.
at 0
So
today.
just cover
the
it
countdown
up.
to Mars ends in February when Mars 2020 safely delivers Perseverance and
I'll keep
Ingenuity
it.
to the surface
Keep
of the
it
red
as it
planet.
is.
So we're going to let you listen in now and enjoy the last couple
There
minutes
you go.
of the
Curiosity took 8
process
months
of
and
launching a
24
rocket.
days. So why is this one only going to take 6 months? Can somebody explain, please?
1 minute 59.
Curiosity rover took 50 more days than Perseverance.
Vehicle
There you
and
go.
terminal.
1 minute
Why?
55.
Launch sequencer start.
Launch sequence start. Here we go.
1 minute 50.
Securing Centaur Leech 2.
Securing Centaur LO2.
I'll turn the volume up just a tad on the
So
background.
there we heard the fueling is
1
wrapping
minute
up.
40.
Yep, fueling is wrapping up.
Ludicrous
Naval
speed.
team is done. Launch enable's
137.
done. Launch conductor sequence is ready to go. They're getting ready to turn the vehicle over to auto
FTS
sequence at T minus 31 seconds. So that's a big thing that they're getting done here. At At T-minus 25 seconds, we will hear the team give their final goes that everything is ready and
1
the
minute
launch
20.
vehicle is ready to lift off and
OCU
perform
armed.
this mission.
SCS count started.
1 minute 15.
Count started.
Produce CCS for launch. Roger.
Yep. Light this
1
candle.
minute 10.
Vent valves locked.
Yeah, I know. Kerbal Space Program. Should
1
play with
minute.
it.
Rock, report range status.
Range green.
That's good to hear, Joshua, right
That's
there.
public
good.
safety there is
It's
accounting
green.
for the FTS system.
The
There you
range
see on your
clear.
screen a beautiful shot. The skies look great. There is little wind happening. You'd be able to see more of the venting. If there were wind, the trail of that
Yes,
venting.
Mars
So
could be
we're
closer.
ready to go.
And actually, that's an
40
important
seconds.
point. The reason we don't see that
Stable
venting
at
is the
F3.
vent valves have been locked up to put flight pressure into the tanks. And as we just heard, they're stable at step 3. Which
No, I'm
means
not going
that
to
the
go
tanks are
full
ready to
screen
go.
because
And here
I
at
want
about
the chat to
5
be there.
seconds, we will
28
hear
seconds.
the team
ECS reduced for launch.
give the final go.
It's not that high res anyway.
Status check. Go Atlas. Go Centaur. Go Mars 2020.
Go Mars
There we
2020.
go. We're ready to go lift off this morning, Joshua.
Come on, light this candle. Damn right it's happening. You can hear it. Is that the
8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Engine ignition. 2, 1, 0.
Go!
Release and liftoff. As
Go,
the
you
countdown to
beauty.
Mars continues. The perseverance
Head
of
clear.
humanity launching the next generation of robotic explorers to the Red Planet.
Go, you little ripper. That looks good.
has gone to closed loop control.
Closed loop. Control. It's on its own.
Coming up on 30 seconds into flight, the RD-180 is throttling down as expected. Engine response looks good.
Engine response is good. Woo!
And Mach 1 Atlas V is now supersonic.
It's already 13 miles.
And passing 45 seconds into flight, vehicle is now passing through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure.
Max Q. Wow, that's a fast launch, isn't it? I think. Oh, go, baby.
And passing 1 minute into flight, the RD-180 is throttling back up as expected. Engine response looks good.
It's throttling back
At
up.
this time
Good.
in flight, the SRB chamber pressures remain nominal. The
Nominal.
RD-180 pump speed and fuel injector pressures are responding well to demands on the engine. Standing by for SRB burnout shortly. And we have burnout on all 4 SRBs. Burnout pressure signatures look good. Standing by for SRB jettison shortly.
Awesome. It's on its way. Only if the next stage doesn't light. Come on. Yep. Yep.
And we have a good indication of
Is that all
SRB
of-
jettison of all 4 SRBs. And the vehicle has gone to closed loop guidance.
Sweet. Yes, SRB
Vehicle
is solid
body rates
rocket
are
booster.
responding nominally at this time.
Nominally, that's what we want to hear.
And coming up on 2.5 minutes into flight, the RD-180 is
Sweet.
throttled down slightly as expected. Engine response continues to look good. At this time, the vehicle is 50 miles in altitude, 85 miles downrange, traveling at 6,000 miles per hour.
I just flipped my head. Somebody said, flip my head.
And the Centaur reaction control system is now
There we go.
pressurizing to flight levels.
So I'm looking at the right thing on the screen. Oh my god, it's full of turtles. Nice one, dog backwards. I like that. That's a
Just about 3
t-shirt.
minutes into flight, the RD-180 is now throttling.
Oh,
to
look at
maintain
the
a constant 2.5 G acceleration.
Frosty the
limit for
Snowman.
payload-bearing
Look at it.
jettison. Engine response and vehicle acceleration look good.
That was a really fast liftoff. That was like, it just chewed up the miles like they were nothing. Whoa. Oh, there we go.
And we have good indication of payload fairing jettison and
Yep.
Centaur forward
The
load
fairing's
reactor
gone
deck
already.
jettison.
Payload fairing's gone already. That's the casing that. Wow.
And the RD-180 is
No
throttled
green
back,
screen,
is throttling back
but
up to attain a 4.6
Get your ass to. Oh, sorry, the shirt will be wrong, won't it?
Engine response
Yep.
continues to look good.
So get your ass to Mars.
And
I know it has
begun
to
the
escape
boost
Earth
phase kill
orbit,
down
but, you know.
sequence to thermally condition the RL-10 for operation.
Some take off a lot quicker than others.
Standing by for BECO shortly.
Yeah, 280 miles downrange.
BECO's the call for booster engine.
And we have BECO, booster engine cutoff.
Oh, here we go.
Standing by for
Inside
stage
shot. Cool.
separation.
Here we go. Keep dropping away. Don't come back. Don't come back. Don't come back.
And we have good
and
indication of that
you
lift
light
and
that candle.
separation.
I should light it right about now. Yep.
So there you're seeing
No.
live footage.
And we
from
have
the
Mach
rocket.
1.
Yep.
RL-10 operating parameters look good.
It's operating. The RL-10's the
Chamber
engine.
pressures are stable.
Chamber pressures are stable. That's good. She's pivoting.
This will be the first of 2 burns for today's mission. This first burn will be approximately 7 minutes in length.
This one's good. This one's looks like she's on the way to Mars. This is looking good.
So, Mick, that's pretty exceptional footage there. That's live video. We will see that switch over shortly into an animation that kind of helps let us know what's happening with the rocket.
Keep the live
But
footage
there,
as long as we can get it.
A beautiful liftoff. Fun to feel that rumble in the building here as we proceed towards orbit and then towards
No, I'm not subbed
Mars
to NASA,
destination.
not on this
Absolutely. It was
channel.
great watching an on-time liftoff of the Atlas V with that little over 2 million.
No, I'm subscribed to
pounds of
enough
thrust,
space stuff.
Cleared the tower in roughly 5 seconds. Josh, you and I worked the InSight mission, and if you recall, that mission on the West Coast took about 17 seconds to get past tower. So with those 4 solids today, this thing really got out of here and on its way. And
Told ya.
as we hear from Jesse,
It was quick because it had the
everything's
4
looking
solid rocket
nominal,
boosters.
and all vehicle parameters are within the design limits, and we're getting ready to come up on a main engine start for that first burn that Jesse was talking about.
Yeah, so recapping this countdown to Mars, the stations began to be filled up this morning just after midnight. Preparations, fuelings, powering up all the way through that liftoff. that
Toby,
happened,
it'll take another
I think
6. Somebody
it wasn't
said like
precisely
6 months,
on time.
6
I
and a
think he said
half
it was like
months.
10 milliseconds early.
Something like that. So
it's pretty
like
much dead on.
early next
Dead
year.
on. This team does a great job. As I said, they're very focused, very disciplined. As
Yeah,
Tori
flat.
also said, courageous.
Round earth,
they have
busted.
done a lot of work to get us to this point today through this pandemic. Changed how they did some of their work. Made adjustments as needed. A lot of cleaning, a lot of things, a lot of wearing their
It's
face
always
masks,
flying
doing
horizontal. It
all
goes up
kinds of
and-
things. And so this is an exciting time, not only for the JPL team in Mars 2020, but everybody that's worked this mission, and for the country and the agency. So this is
Using
exciting
UT
to see.
Premium?
We still have a long way
What's
to go,
that?
Joshua,
Yes.
before spacecraft separation.
Yeah, we
What's
had a
UT
really quiet
Premium?
countdown today, which is phenomenal, that we got off the ground on time. And we are proceeding now that we are
Oh,
in the middle
YouTube
of the
Premium.
first burn.
Right.
It's tough to make out, but that engine is lit and
Oh,
it's
it's-
firing.
I
So
don't
we
know.
are in motion. There you go. There's that animation we talked about.
Not much.
There as we
$5 a month or
switch to
something?
a TDRS compatible data format.
TDRS.
Overall telemetry quality is very good.
Animation.
The space tracking system. So there you go. This is not an actual video, but this is an animation that's
It's
driven
not an
by
actual
real
video.
data. So although we're not actually seeing the engine on
It's
screen
funny
right
'cause
now, we can see that the engine is lit, and that is driven by the data that says
I
that
have
the
to
engine is
explain
truly
this
lit
to
and
my
we're in
mum
this
all the
The
time.
launch vehicle continues
It's
to
like-
send telemetry to the launch team.
You know, they
via
see
TDRS
like
network,
something
as
on
you
the
mentioned,
news or something.
and
Oh,
that
they
allows them
see
to
that new
continue to
planet
watch
they
what's going on and
found.
make sure
It's
all their
like
sequence
they
of
showed
events,
pictures of the
meet their
planet. No,
timeline,
it's an
that
artist's
we
impression of
continue
what
on
the
a
planet's going to
nominal
look
flight
like.
This morning. This first burn, as we heard earlier, will be
Yeah,
about
it's
6
hilarious.
minutes. This will get us into that park orbit around Earth, allow us to get on our way, and then get into that approximately 30-minute coast
Feb
period
18th.
that
There you
we're
go.
gonna
Thank you
have.
very much, Xavier. February
beginning to see
18th,
the Centaur PU system
2021.
balance out,
Jesus, I'm getting old.
mass
2021.
errors. Seeing very
Man.
stable body rates in the Centaur.
I can vividly remember.
So we've mentioned 5 teams at play.
Thinking,
and although
geez,
if you were
I'm going to
watching,
be
hopefully you got a
old
chance
when
to
it
see this
hit
in
when
person.
year
If not
2000. I
on
wonder
camera,
what
it's easy to
wonder
kind of
what
say,
I'll be
"Oh, it's
doing
over, like, job
in
done."
life
But
when
all 5 of these
when
teams
the
still
year
very much
2000
engaged,
comes
still very
around,
much
because that was
focused,
the big
'cause there's
deal.
a lot of work ahead
I
as we
remember
proceed through
sitting
this
there
first
with my
burn,
mate and we're
and then the
thinking,
coast phase, like you
man,
mentioned,
what are we
Nick,
going
and
to
then
be
a
like
second
in
burn,
in
and then
2000?
spacecraft and the acquisition of
And
signal
now
from
it's
Mars 2020. So a lot more
never
coming
grow
up
old.
here. Nick, I know
Yeah.
for the Launch Services Program, Instagram.
Somebody
You guys managed
posted a
the
photo of
launch.
me. It's on
So
Twitter.
what does that mean?
I
This is you
retweeted
guys
it.
Work in action right now.
By the way, that's the fifth team that we
They,
did get to mention. We talked about JPL, we talked about DOE, we talked
They
about
posted
United
a photo
Space
of me
Force,
9
United
years
States Space
apart.
Force,
Like, and
United Launch
apparently I look
Alliance.
better. And even the wife
LSP,
agreed. She
we
saw
are
it
like
too.
the brokers,
And
to
she
select
agreed.
this
Yep, I
launch
look better
vehicle
now
and
than
help
I did
manage this mission. So we
10
we give
years
our
ago,
spacecraft
9 years
customer,
ago,
the
whatever.
JPL folks, they come to us.
Yeah.
They have some
No,
certain requirements that
11
they need
years
for this
ago, was it?
mission.
Yeah, it was one of my
The
first
launch
videos.
services
So it was like
program made
11
up
years
of
ago.
engineers and flight analysis folks, and they look at everything. They help define those requirements, and then we go out and procure a vehicle.
Nobody
from a commercial
hoverboards
partner.
yet. Yeah,
in this case, it was
disappointing.
the Atlas 541
Yeah.
for the Mars 20 mission that was needed.
I
for
agree, Dunn
performance,
Pierce.
right? As you and I have talked over the last several
Year-
days, Josh, one of the
year
things that was
2000.
important for us to look at
I
was that performance to be able to get
I was at
Mars 2020 onto that
was it
transfer orbit into
Tallies?
solar
No, it wasn't.
orbit to intercept
Was it Tallies at the
Mars
time?
in,
I can't remember
7
because
months.
the
It's
company
kind
went
of
through like
analogous
4
to
name
a
changes.
football game, right?
Well,
With
they,
a quarterback
not
trying
just name
to throw a
changes,
pass
but mergers
downfield.
and things.
You need a quarterback
And
with a lot of
anyway,
performance who can get
and
that
yes,
ball
I
down there
was
where it
the
needs to be,
company's year
and,
2000
so the receiver can
technical
intercept that. In our
person
case,
who had to
7
ensure
months
that
later.
everything
It's the
was year
longest football
2000
pass ever.
compliant.
The
Oh,
Earth is the
yay.
quarterback, the
And it's like
Atlas
I had
is
to
the
do a
quarterback's
report
arm,
on the
Perseverance
dumbest
is the
stuff.
football, and Mars
If
is
it
the
was a
receiver.
555
That's
timer,
right.
And what we also
right,
talked about
I
is that
would have to
technically,
do a
you could
report.
launch to Mars
like
at any
if
time
you
if you
know
had a
a
rocket that was
little
powerful enough.
production
But this is
gadget
the
or
launch
something
period
had a
every
555 timer
26
in
months
it,
or so,
or
as
a
we talked
little,
about, that
you know,
makes the most
whatever,
sense
like
because
nothing, standard
you require
logic
the
or whatever,
least amount of
or
energy
analog
to
stuff.
get to
I would
Mars,
have to write a
because it takes a
report
lot
saying
to get
how
there.
and
Obviously,
why
like the
it's
Atlas
year 2000
541
compliant. I had to do
is
that
a
for
workhorse.
everything.
Yes, Tori
And
said
it was
it's their
just like,
dominator,
and it was
right?
just
So,
ridiculous.
I
And
love
some
that
people
name
just
for the Atlas
didn't get it. It was just ridiculous.
541.
Like,
But we heard,
you know,
Jim Bridenstine,
how can you be
our NASA
sure?
administrator, tell
How
us
can you
that
be like?
if we didn't make this launch period, we would
just
be
like you
down
just
for
roll your
roughly
eyes at them.
26
Yeah,
months,
it's
right?
tough.
So the period
know.
started July 17th and went
Unbelievable.
and goes to August 15th.
Yep.
Today, July
yeah.
30th, was one of those
Year
launch
2000,
opportunities that we had.
Y2K,
We had
what a
2-hour
nothing burger.
window, and
Well, it was a
within that
nothing
window,
burger
we
because
had
they spent a lot of
several
money making sure it was a
opportunities to
nothing
go
burger.
actually.
But
Yeah.
25
you know.
opportunities.
And we launched at the beginning of the window on our
The
first
mass hysteria,
opportunity,
dogs and
to
cats
get
living
Mars
together.
2020, going
Yeah.
on
Mass
its way.
hysteria.
And that, you know, that sounds like a lot.
All you
and it
youngsters,
is.
you
The Flight
won't
Analysis
remember the
Group, both at
Y2K bug,
JPL,
but yeah.
LSP and ULA
Yeah.
did a lot of work to pick out those target sets and figure out where we
Oh,
need
if
to
we
be. So
did
they've done a
nothing,
great job.
things
We'll see how
would have
this mission
happened.
continues.
You
So,
know,
Mick, tell us about the two
stock
burns required
exchanges
here.
could
We're
have
actually coming
crashed
up on
or
the end of the
something,
first
you know.
one.
Like planes
Ultimately,
weren't going
a
to
lot
drop
people
out of the
probably,
sky.
and myself
It's
included, at
just
some point,
ridiculous.
just like,
I
why
remember
wouldn't
that
you
the
just keep firing
I think it
engines?
was
Just
the
fire all the
CEO
way
of
through
Qantas
and
at the
get to
time
Mars in
had
one
to
shot.
reassure
the first
everyone.
burn
I think the
gets us
CEO
into
of
that
lots of
park orbit we
airlines
talked
actually.
about. We've lifted off. We've left
At the
Earth, we've
time,
got into
year
a park
2000,
orbit around
they
Earth
had
right
to
now.
reassure
And
because
while we're
all
in
their
that,
all their
park orbit,
bookings
we will
were just being
perform
cancelled.
some
Everyone was
maneuvers to
cancelling
kind
out
of
of
roll,
fear of this
Mars
widespread
Perseverance
panic
and
of
the
this year
Centaur
2000 thing.
and,
Planes would just
coast
drop
during
out of
that
the
time,
sky, and so the
basically
CEOs had to
setting itself up
personally
looking
be
at
on
the
a
sun or away from
plane
the sun
on
to
their
control
own
the thermal
plane
environments
when midnight
that,
ticked
are on
over.
Mars
It was
2020
like it was
during
one of
this
those
coast period.
things. It was like,
That coast
look,
period will allow
I'm putting
us
my
to
life
coast
on the line
around,
here. Trust me.
into the position that
And it
we
was
need
just
so that we
hilarious.
can
Yes,
have that second
Ghostbusters. Of course, it's a
firing
Ghostbusters.
to get the velocity needed to head off into Mars.
Yes, and we will be back for that second burn in just under 30
COVID-19
minutes
is
now.
not a nothing
But for
burger.
now,
I just
there's more
ran
to
the
learn
numbers
about
here in
this
Australia
mission
the
and
other
all
day.
the amazing
The
science
death
that's
rate is
involved. Daryl,
3.5
back to you.
times worse than our worst flu season. So it's you know it's not a nothing burger.
All right. Thank you
But it's
very
not
much.
orders of
Great
magnitude
launch
worse
and
than the
great
flu.
job, guys. Back outside now. To recap, an Atlas V rocket carrying Mars
But
Perseverance
it is
rover
more contagious.
launched on time from from the
By
Cape
looks of-
Canaveral
well,
Air Force
I don't
Station
know, is that
at
debatable?
7:50 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Incredible. After the rocket took flight, it separated from the first stage and was then boosted into orbit by the Centaur's second stage. Perseverance is now preparing for
I
a second
remember
burn
my
that will put
partner's
it on a
parents had
trajectory
all
toward
their
Mars.
hi-fi TVs
That's
out
just
on the
incredible to say.
lawn.
It gives me goosebumps.
It really is, and we're so excited
What, they
about
thought
that
they'd
as
blow
well.
up?
And while we wait for that second burn, hang
Burn
in
the
there with
house
us 'cause we
down?
got a lot of exciting coverage
Oh,
to go. We're
man.
going to welcome in one of our launch guests, Dr. Derek
Yeah,
Muller.
lifts
He is
lifts
the
were just going to
creator
suddenly
and
plummet.
host
Lifts
of
as if the
popular
science
education channel
lifts
on
were just
YouTube
suddenly going to
called
plummet to your
Veritasium.
death in
He also holds a
the
doctorate
Empire State
in
Building.
physics education, so he's really smart, and that's why you saw us kind of having some fun because Derek was here on set.
Oh, man.
We're just having a good
Yeah.
time talking about this launch, which I got to start
Thank
off with
you,
that, Derek.
G2 Lex.
Your first time
Ah,
seeing
sorry,
launch
it's
in
getting late
person,
here.
What'd you think?
G2 Lex. That's not
what
really
can you
late.
say? That I have nothing to compare it to, but it was awesome. Something I will never forget. And
Yes,
I
the
definitely
vast
wanna be
majority of
invited
the
back.
deaths.
So, if you guys
Oh,
would
God,
make
it's
that happen,
Derek.
Just so amazing. to
You
see.
do a great job explaining physics.
How
what
did he
you
score
feel like?
that?
Walk me through as you were watching.
Doesn't do many
and
videos these days.
experiencing it.
Well, it's like all the physics goes out the window a little bit.
See what
it's
Derek
a
has to
very
say for
visceral
himself.
moment between you and this very powerful craft. I think it's just amazing all the, the engineering that goes into making something that's that powerful and yet that controlled,
Yeah.
And to witness that is phenomenal. And then to feel the rumble of all that sound as it hits you, I found it an incredibly emotional experience. It's almost unbelievable to, see it taking off. It's very surreal, that's for sure.
Nice. What excites you the most about the Perseverance rover?
Well, the Perseverance rover is going to do a lot of great science. So I'm excited, for example, that it's going to cache samples that we're going to bring back. Super excited
Yeah, I
that
don't
we're actually
understand the
going to
caching.
have
Caching.
samples from Mars in our hands, and I think
All
that
this
may
cache
clinch
rubbish.
whether we can see that life
Come
is
on, he's
actually
mostly
there.
Aussie.
But I'm also super excited about Ingenuity, about the helicopter, which I got to visit out at JPL before it was strapped to the underbelly of the rover, and to think about flying a rotorcraft in, another world, essentially, in a place that only has 1/100th the Earth's atmosphere. It seems audacious, and I am impressed and
not
amazed.
audacious,
and
just
I
run the
can't wait
numbers.
to see if it works.
It's basic engineering. I reckon
I'm
it'll work.
cautiously optimistic. I think the team is phenomenal.
Unless someone's goofed the
And
numbers.
You did, in fact, a YouTube story on it.
Who is
piece
this
on
guy?
your channel,
Derek
and did a
Muller.
fantastic
He's
job going
the
to JPL.
I did,
he
yeah,
runs
and
the
I was just so
Veritasium
lucky that it was,
YouTube
like,
channel.
There, a meter or two
I
away from
know
me on the
Derek.
other side of a door in a clean room.
And I know he's,
that was
well,
one
now,
of the
our
great
former
moments of my life,
girlfriend.
yeah.
That thing's going to Mars.
Former girlfriend. I met her at a
weighs, like, about as much as my
YouTube
laptop.
event.
And you think about,
And,
it's substantial in its size, and it's
we
gonna
chatted
go
for
there
ages.
and
She
take off
runs
and fly
the
all by itself, 'cause, of
Braincraft
course, we can't
YouTube
control
channel.
it, given the time delay and everything. That is, I just think, one
I
of the
think they
pinnacles
split
of
up
human
shortly after
engineering.
that.
Yes,
actually.
absolutely. Now,
that was
this
a long
is gonna
time
do
ago.
some
Now
big
Derek's
science as well. What are
got
your
kids
thoughts
and
on the search for ancient microbial life on another planet, Mars?
Well, I think chances are good that Mars once harbored life. It was so similar to Earth in the past. One can only expect.
Yes, it's
the
the Veritasium guy. He doesn't make many videos
well.
anymore.
But
I don't know what he does
I'm,
with his
I'm
time.
really
As I said, he's got
excited
kids.
for us
you
to
know.
get that confirmation, because I think it really
I
transforms
know he does like
our
TV
ideas
shows and
about
stuff.
life
He used to be on
and,
the
how
Quantum here.
frequent
Was it
right now, all
Quantum
we
here in
have is this
Australia?
sample size of
He used to be on
one
TV.
Earth with life,
And
We
interestingly,
find
I'll tell you a
another
story.
one that's 100% more information and data, and I think it's likely that that life will not be exactly like ours. And I think it'll be fascinating. Everything we can learn about.
Anyway,
other
I'll tell you a
potential
story.
forms of life
Derek
just
and I
by
were going to
finding,
be on a TV show,
life on
a
another
Discovery
You seem to suggest that you
Discovery
think there is
Channel
life.
TV show
I
together.
do. I mean, you have liquid
No
water
kidding.
for, I don't know how many, half a billion or
Like
billion
the
years.
producers
On Earth,
or whatever
that was enough
approached
to create
us,
life.
and
So,
they said, "Hey, we
the
like
guess
it
is
was
that's not
it
a
was
unique
some
thing,
it was
you know,
one
right?
of the
I mean,
most
the
ridiculous
scientific
ideas." They
hypothesis is
approached
you
us
run that
because
enough
they,
times,
"Hey, we want
it's
some
bound to lead to
YouTubers
life
to
again
host
in
this,
other circumstances.
you know,
Dr. Derek
science
Muller, we
tech
really appreciate
kind of
you being
thing."
here, YouTube creator
And
with
so-
the channel Veritasium.
Turn that
We
down
know you
now.
have a 2.5-week-old child.
Oh, he's got another one, 2.5 weeks old.
There are very few things that I could leave for at this launch. That is one of them.
Thank you so much for doing so. Get a selfie with our full-size rover back here. You see that?
Got a leave pass.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Get a selfie with the
There
rover.
has been a lot of anticipation
Anyway,
by NASA teams leading up to this launch.
the
but some
audio's
won't be
distracting.
able to
I don't
fully
like-
celebrate until the rover has safely landed on Mars. 7
Some
months from now.
YouTubers like to
Raquel,
listen to
you were there with
themselves,
the Mars
like
mission team at
monitor
JPL
their
in
own
California.
audio
How are
into
they
their
reacting
ears
to
when
seeing
they're
Mars 2020
recording.
take
Like,
flight?
I can't do that. Jeez.
Well, Moo,
No,
it's been
it's just
quite
ridiculous.
an eventful morning.
Anyway,
with the
I was telling the
earthquake,
story.
but you could feel the energy
Derek,
building
yes,
in
Derek
the
and
room
I
in the run-up to
were both
launch,
approached
and
by
now I'm with
no,
Bobby
National
Braun,
Geographic.
the director for
I think it
planetary
was
science
National
at
Geographic.
JPL.
Oh, geez, so many
Bobby,
years ago
now
now.
that we've started our journey to Mars, can you
Pretty
tell
sure,
me
yeah,
how
National
you're feeling?
National Geographic.
Wow, it's just- it's a
the
great day.
producers for this new
we're
show, I
all so
can't remember what it was called.
excited,
I
and
don't even
to-
know if
to
it had
get
a
started
name.
in this
Anyway,
way
they
and
approached both
to
of us
be
and they
on
wanted
our
hosts
way,
for
after all
this
this
show.
work that the team has gone
And
through.
yeah,
It's
they
really-
wanted
really just
like a
fantastic.
scientist and an engineer or
That's
something.
great.
I don't
Now,
know, something like that.
what's Now the
So
Perseverance
yeah,
is
we
off
were
the
like
launch
two
pad.
prominent
What are its
YouTubers.
next
So they
steps?
approached us,
Yeah, well,
and
we're almost
and the
on the
concept.
path to Mars,
I see if I
the
remember this
launch vehicle
properly.
has done
The
great so
concept was
far.
like a
Partners at ULA are
prank
just
show.
fantastic,
It was
and we're
like
very happy to be
funniest
working
home,
with
like
them
not
and
funniest
for
home
them to give
videos.
us
The
this
one of
boost
the
so
prank
far.
shows, the
But we still
candid
have to,
camera
have
kind
another
of thing. It
burn
was
of
like
our
an
upper stage.
engineering,
We have to
sciencey,
pass through the
candid
night
camera
side or the
thing.
shadow of the
It
Earth,
was such a
come out on the
retarded
other
idea.
side and
Oh my
find the
god, it
sun
was
and
like
power
awful.
up and then,
It was just
establish
like,
contact
yeah,
with the
and
spacecraft. And once we do,
it
we'll
just
truly
didn't
be
go
on
through.
our way to
I
Mars.
don't think they
We'll
got.
have a
It just never happened.
spacecraft
It was a
that's
nut turned
power
into a nothing
safe, that we can
burger.
communicate
But
with,
anyway,
and
yes,
our
they
journey
approached
will
Derek
really
and I
begin.
to co-host
Look
this
forward to that. Thanks, Bobby.
this National
Now,
Geographic
Daryl,
program.
as Bobby
Oh
mentioned,
man, I
there's
was scraping to the
excitement
bottom
here
of
in
the barrel
room
with that
as
idea.
The team looks
Let me
ahead
tell you.
to the second Centaur burn. But before we get to that, let's learn more about the science.
See
on
ya,
board
kid
this
behind
rover.
computers. Perth.
All right, thanks,
Done
Raquel.
early
And
there.
as you mentioned, there are numerous scientific studies and technology demonstrations on
yep.
Perseverance. Some of these
So there you go.
are directly preparing us to one day
Yeah.
send humans to Mars. One in
And I can
particular
remember
is
also,
called
Derek and I
Moxie.
were on a
Jeff Sheehy from the Science
like
and Technology
YouTube
Mission
hold the
Directorate
if you're a
is joining
YouTube
us now
creator,
to explain,
like
and
if you're
he
a
is here
like a
with us.
if
well,
you're
you know,
on their
sometimes here's
list
a-
or whatever of YouTube creators, you
that's
get
all right.
invited to
Well, that's all right.
like
It's a Britney Spears
you know
style mic, you know.
events and
So,
streams and
I don't
things
know
like
if
that. And this
you're-
is
that'll work
way
fine.
back in the day.
Yeah,
And
thanks for making the
I think the
investment
only
there.
two bot
So,
it was
Jeff,
like
this
an
is an
online. It was
incredible
like a
piece of
live,
technology
you
here,
know,
this
a
Moxie,
multi-chat thing
right?
using
So
Google
tell us,
Hangouts back
what
when
is
Google
it and
Hangouts
why
was a
is it
thing.
important?
And they were supposed to like talk to YouTube
in-situ
experts about the
resource
algorithm and all
utilization
sorts of
experiment.
stuff.
That's
And
kind of a
it was
mouthful,
funny.
so we
The
got a
only
few
I think the
letters
only
out
two
there,
people who
just call it
turned up were
Moxie.
myself and Derek
I think
from
the name
Veritasium.
Moxie
And at the
has a
time,
certain
he only
attitude
had
that's
like
appropriate for
1,000
this
subs or
ambitious
something. He had
mission
just
to Mars.
started.
But what in-situ resource
Yeah, he had
utilization
just
is
started. So he was, you know,
utilizing the
he was
resources
keen
that
to
we find at a
learn all the
destination to
algorithmic
produce
stuff, as you
useful
all know about.
commodities.
He's very good at that
And
sort of
so
thing. He
what Moxie's
really
gonna
analyzes
do
all
is
that.
Suck in the Mars atmosphere, which is
And,
mostly carbon dioxide.
Yep.
And
Oh, they're
produce
talking about
pure
the
oxygen.
cache stuff.
Oxygen is a commodity that we can use in our exploration
Yeah.
endeavors, and so
Yeah, this rover has like
Moxie
30
is
little
the
caches or
first
something on it,
in-situ
little
resource
containers
utilization
that they're going to
experiment
drill,
on
bottle
another
them up,
planet.
seal them,
That's
and then
why it's
store
so
them,
important.
just in case
If we can
can
produce
get a
things we
rover
need
to it
at
in
the
the future that can pull them
We
out
don't have
and then
to load
shoot
them in
them
a
off
launch vehicle,
back
launch
to
them from the surface
back to
to
Earth.
push them all the
So
way to the
that's I guess
destination
it's
and land them
contingency
on Mars
thing.
or
Just
the
that
moon.
like if we don't get
Saving
humans
incredible
there
weight,
to do the job
fuel,
within
resources,
X amount of time, and of
use
course
the
once
ones
humans
that
are
are there
there,
in
we can
place.
contaminate
right.
it.
It
So
took a
it's
lot of
like we've got
moxie.
this pure stuff. But I don't know.
What
You
were
can
some
get
of the biggest
like I
challenges
don't think
in
it's
developing
that.
this technology, designing it,
I don't.
developing,
I'm
building
surprised
it?
that one
Well, the team
got approved.
that
There must be
produced
more
the
to it. There must
hardware
be,
that we
you
just
know.
saw, being launched
Must
on
be
its way
some
to
sort
Mars.
of
They certainly
detail
had
there
Moxie
that
because
I'm
they had
just not
overcome
thinking of.
a lot of challenges along the way. When you start to develop
So
new
yeah.
technologies,
Anyway, I
you're
think
working
it's
in
kind
a
of a silly idea. The
laboratory,
cache
and you've
thing.
got all the room you
Well,
need
it's not,
usually.
but like
you can
they
build it
took
big
up a
and
lot of
heavy 'cause
room
you're
on
not
the
trying to
rover
make
to
it
do it.
pretty, you're just
You
trying
know,
to make
it's
it
like
work,
it's
and
got this
you've got all
robot
the
arm.
power you
This
need, and you can
it's got
control
this
the
like
thermal
sample thing on the
environment,
bottom of the
and you can
rover
have people-
that
teams of people
like
come in and
goes
tinker
around
with
and
it,
puts the
fix little
containers up
breaks
in
and
their
all
little
that. So-
hole, and there's
but
like dozens of
you
these
probably
little
see where I'm
holes
going
where
with
the
this.
containers go, and it
When
zips
you
around
get to the point where
like an
it's time to fly
XY
that hardware to
table
prove it out
thing
in
on the bottom of
space
the rover that
environment or
stores all these
on the
samples.
planetary surface,
And there's
then
no way
the
to get 'em
rubber really
back.
hits the road in terms of the engineering, and that's where the
So
teams of engineers
you know,
come into
I
play.
guess,
and
but
they
it's a whole
develop clever
planet. It's like,
solutions
yeah,
to
okay, if we go
implement
there and
the-
contaminate, we're
the
only going to
process
contaminate a
that's been
small
developed in the
space.
lab
Just
and
go
package it
somewhere
for
immediately
spaceflight.
where
So
we've never
Moxie
been
faced
before.
a lot
It's
of
not,
challenges.
it's
You
not hard.
Once you have to put
Turn
it on
down the vid
rover,
before you talk.
the size
It's
becomes
still too
important.
noisy, is it?
It
Sorry.
has to fit in a certain volume on the rover. The amount of weight or the mass becomes really important. Every ounce you launch.
No,
into
they're
space
gonna.
takes propellant to
I saw a
move
thing
it.
that
So,
showed them they're going to shove
we
them in
wanted
a
to
hole or
launch
something,
as
or
light
is that
as
the
possible. Had to fit
storage,
within a certain
or is
mass
that where they
limit.
get them out? They
They
just
would've
dump them
kicked
on the
it off
ground, do
rover.
they?
And we're glad you made it on the rover. And just real quick, and without getting too
Can't
deep
understand
into
a
the
thing I say.
technical,
What?
How does it convert carbon dioxide to oxygen?
So Moxie uses.
Sorry, was the
thermal
background?
and
Did anyone hear
electrochemical
all the stuff I
process.
just said about
There's
the
a compressor that was built
National
by
Geographic and
a
all
company
that?
called Air
Or
Square.
was the
Some of that
volume too
funded
loud in
under
the background?
NASA Small Business Innovative Research Program, actually. And they built the compressor. What it does is acquire the carbon dioxide from the Mars atmosphere and push it into the electrolysis.
Yes, the Mars rocks are
Company called
priceless. The
Ceramotech,
the
a team
moon
led
rocks,
by
yeah.
a guy named Joe Hartwigson. They're now called Oxyon Energy, I think. But they built the guts of MOXIE, which is the solid oxide.
Okay, no worries. I just turned the
electrolysis
background
system
down
that
now,
takes the carbon
so
dioxide,
it should be quite low.
CO2, actually pulls an atom
Bit
of
spotty
oxygen
audio-wise, shouldn't be.
CO2, leaving CO.
Oh wow!
And then
YouTube
those
streaming's
atoms
brilliant.
migrate through the electrolysis system, and those
Just dumped on the
oxygen
ground, is it?
ions are-
Okay.
are neutralized,
So the little
and then they
holes I've seen
recombine
are the
and
storage
overflow become
things for them. So the little
So
arm
we
comes
get
under,
pure oxygen
pulls
out
out
of
the storage
That's
container, and then
fantastic.
or
And
whatever,
so
something
in order
like
to
that.
get MOXIE on board the rover, actually you had to kind of clear through the very smart lady to my left. She's with Planetary Protection, so she actually had to clean off part of it, right?
Yeah.
You had to
myself-
heat it and then clean the
That's
O2
right.
sensor.
Yeah, the socks.
Yeah,
was
multiple
actually
people. Sorry,
self-sterilizing.
I
It was
should have
hot
turned
enough
it
so
down.
cleaned itself.
Should I
But
turn
there
off the
was
stream
parts of the
altogether?
O2 sensors that
In
needed
fact,
basic hydrogen
where's the,
peroxide sterilization. So it was the first time we used hydrogen peroxide on
The
flight hardware.
tracking,
Yeah.
because like about 30 minutes after launch is when the, so we get nothing of it being.
For letting us do that.
Well, you know, in
Oh,
speaking of,
no, it's just
the
shooting off.
rover,
Can't they put a
Lou,
camera
what
on
is
it?
You know, Curiosity told us that we have.
Anyway,
had at
it's,
one time on Mars moving water. So,
It was like,
so
I
what
think
is
about 30
Perseverance
minutes
going to
after
do in
launch
terms
before
of,
it turns on its
confirming
transmitter.
whether life could have been there?
Before they actually
So
start picking
the
it up
task
in
mission set up the stage as far as
Canberra.
understanding what could sustain life, and
So
now
I'm
we're actually
just
looking for
checking
signatures
my
of that life.
And so, some of the answers that you're looking for, which one
Twitter
are you
feed
personally
here.
looking most forward to?
Yeah, I'm personally looking forward to seeing
Canberra Deep Space Network.
signs of life
In
where
about
no one will
90,
argue that
watch
it
for
has a
signal
biologic
acquisition in
source.
about 80 minutes.
It's
That
very
was
easy to
16
say,
minutes
"Oh,
ago.
this
So
chemistry
there you
could've
go.
happened from
So
natural
we've got just
reasons."
over an
But
hour
I want to see a smoking gun. It would be awesome to see that.
before
that's not
they will
exactly
acquire
easy,
signal from
right?
the
Not at all.
And so, explain that. Explain
from
that to
the
us.
probe.
Yeah, so in order to get that,
Because it's not the
definitive
rover
signal,
that's
one of the main
transmitting,
things
it's
you
the
have to do is
probe
make sure you
that's
have a clean
will be
instrument
transmitting.
that you're sampling with, and so that's why we spent a lot.
I
of
believe
time
anyway.
Cleaning.
Please
baking
correct
out
me if I'm
hardware
wrong.
To such a high degree, 150 degrees Celsius for some of these parts, to make sure it was clean enough.
And so, those parts have to be specially made to be able to handle that heat.
That's right. Yeah,
In
and
order
it
to get
can.
it past you.
Yeah, all of the material selection, everything was done specifically for that purpose.
Where else in the universe, Moo, do you think we should explore for life?
Yeah, I'm really excited about Europa. Europa has an ocean underneath a thick layer of ice. It has vents underneath that have a heat source, so there's a source of energy for possible life.
Europa, a moon.
Yes, the moon. Yeah, icy moons. That's the next place to go.
It's interesting that you picked that. I mean, it's a very, very cold place.
Yeah.
You've got a rover in front of you that is
I
miniaturized.
do.
We have
All
one
right.
that is behind us.
Yeah.
Right? And as part of this, you also had to make sure that that nuclear battery was installed.
Exactly.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, this bit back here.
Tell me about how that worked, when
I'm
you
going
did
to
it,
the,
and how that process was.
Yeah,
No.
it was only a few days before this launch day. I mean,
Where's-
we just finished counting our samples. just a
Richard,
couple of
I'll
days
check
ago.
out Richard
about that?
Stevenson's
So we
feed.
had to actually alter the way
Richard
we sampled.
Stevenson,
We
if you
take
don't know,
swabs of every
he's,
surface of the rover. But for this, we had to make sure our head was far
NASCOM
back
1.
and we had as minimal radiation.
He's NASCOM 1 on
impact as
Twitter.
possible.
He's the
So
guy
we
to
got it.
follow.
It was super clean.
He's at the
INL
Canberra
did a
Deep
great
Space
job.
Network, and
Everyone
he's the
done
one
a
I
fantastic
interviewed
job
in my
making sure this was
excellent
as clean as
multi-part
possible.
series on the
It's ready to go. What do
EEV
you think about
Discover
that
channel
full-size rover
about
It's
the Deep Space
incredible.
Tracking
It's like,
Complex
oh,
here in
you should be
Canberra.
there.
So,
And apparently, it is,
Yep.
it is right to scale as you take a shot of it there.
after
That's a
launch
beautiful
vehicle
rover.
separation,
Thanks for
Richard
describing
says
all that to us.
we'll be on its way for almost half an hour before comms comes through. The Deep Space Network can be
All right,
established.
back into the show now.
They'll get
we
coverage
go.
from both Canberra and Goldstone. Can
countdown
be
as we
expected
go
when
up.
the
You can
downlink
see
is
the
switched
Centaur
on.
there,
Canberra's
the graphics
DSS
is,
34 dish
we are
has the
tracking
prime
and continuing
uplink.
to
So
track
Canberra
Mars
here in
2020
Australia,
on
if you
its
don't know,
way. And when searching for the possibility
halfway
of
between
life
Sydney
on
and
Mars,
Melbourne.
it's all
Literally
about
halfway,
location,
'cause
location.
there was a
And
fight back in the old days, if you don't know.
Perseverance's destination is a place called Jezero
Where
Crater.
is it going to be
Let's go
Australia's
back out to
capital?
JPL now and
Well,
look out.
and
You've got a scientist
should
there
Sydney
that
or
believes
Melbourne be
Jezero
Australia's
Crater
capital?
gives them the
Sydney,
best chance of
City,
finding
and
any
they were all fighting
past
against each other.
microscopic
No, it's us. We want it. We want it. We want it. Okay, we'll put it halfway. So they literally picked a spot halfway between Sydney and Melbourne and Canberra, and that became the Australian Capital Territory, and Canberra is our capital of Australia.
And
So,
with us now is Katie Stack Morgan,
Yep.
one of the project scientists.
anyway,
who
so
helped
yes,
pick
Richard
that
Stevenson,
location.
NASCOM
Katie,
1
Can you tell us why we're heading to Jezero
on
Crater?
Twitter. He will have all the
There are many reasons
live
why
tweeteries
scientists are
about
so
reception
excited
and
to
stuff
send
like that.
Perseverance to Jezero Crater, and why we think that Jezero Crater is an ideal place to begin a Mars sample return campaign. At Jezero, we think that Perseverance
Jezero.
can assemble a diverse set of samples
Crater.
that will help us resolve some of the most important questions about life beyond Earth and the evolution of planets over time.
So,
At Jezero, we know without a doubt that there was an ancient
Deep Space
lake and
Now.
river delta. And at Jezero, we have river valleys that flow into and out of the crater, and we know that
Here we
lake
go.
filled up with water and then overflowed. Water, life as we know it
DSN
requires
now.
water to survive and thrive, and we think that Jezero has all the building blocks to support past life.
there you go. So,
At
Canberra,
Jezero, we also have
DSS,
one of the
Richard
best
says that
preserved
DSS
deltas,
34
on the
will
surface
have
of
the
Mars,
prime
and
uplink.
deltas in lake
So, yeah,
settings are
Mars
ideal for
20, there it
supporting
is.
life. And the rocks
So
that
there's
Perseverance will
no
explore
signal yet,
can tell us
but
more
we should
about
again
the
should eventually
possibility
get.
for past life on
There's
Mars.
Juno
The rocks
and
at
Mars
Jezero
20.
Crater are
They've
also some
actually
of the
got two
oldest
dishes:
on Mars,
DSS
between 3.5
34 and
and 4 billion
DSS
years old.
36.
And that's
DSS
sustained
43,
interval
the
of
Big
time
Daddy.
when life is developing
Although you
on
don't
Earth.
need that for
Exploring the rocks
when
at
you
Jezero with Perseverance,
just
we
in
have
Earth
the
orbit,
opportunity to
you
explore
know,
more
or
about
you know,
the development of life
short
in the
distance
solar
like that.
system and can answer some of the major questions
So
we have
Mars,
about that
Mars
fundamental question.
orbiter,
Back to you, Raquel.
Mars reconnaissance orbiter,
Thank you so much,
and
Katie.
Goldstone
And
are using
with
two
that,
dishes to
let's
track,
head back
and they're
to
currently
Kennedy Space
transmitting
Center.
to EMM. What's EMM? The
Raquel.
Emirates,
We
oh,
are
the
back
Hope
here
mission.
at
There you go. They're
Space
talking to
Center
the
with
Emirates
most
Mars
special
mission
guests,
there.
Moo
And
Perseverance
ORX,
rover.
oh, that's
Here
the
it is,
Osiris Rex,
full-scale
yep.
mock-up of the actual
And
rover
the
itself. Well,
Wind
Moo, here it is. And
spacecraft,
so
there you go,
we've
got all
learned
the
a lot about
details.
this rover
It's
so
great.
far. So tell me, kind of
I like being able to
describe
see through
top to
the
bottom what we're
background
looking
here.
At the top, you've got the mast cam, which is
terrific.
pretty tall,
It
right?
is
I mean,
very
it's
tall.
towering over
So-
your head. It is on a stage, but what does it do?
And
So
Soho.
it has a lot of fun components. Some
So
of
these
them
are different,
the Mastcam
spacecraft
Zs
they
and
track.
cams for zoom, so you see those two stereo cameras. there's
And
also
yes,
that
I've been to
eyeball
Canberra,
that
and
looks
I
like
used
an
the
eye.
Big
It's
Daddy,
actually a laser.
DSS 43,
A laser
to talk to Voyager 2.
Depending on the signature that comes back,
We talked to
the
Voyager
spectrometer
2.
reads it and
It's
tells
great.
you what the geology is.
Videos over on my EV Discover channel. Highly recommend it.
Is happening
And you can
right
have a
here
listen to
on this
Richard.
part. This is the articulating arm that comes out, right, and then goes down onto the planet.
Talking
and
all
starts
about it.
drilling.
Exactly.
Great.
What all is here that's going to help us understand more about the geology of Mars, the climate, and whether or not there was life.
Yeah, there's of course Pixel and Sherlock, the really amazing instruments that are going to tell us about the biosignatures.
Pixel.
But in the middle, there is the coring
Geez, who won the
drill.
contest for that name?
The real drill will have a drill bit, a coring bit, which is hollow in the middle, and there's going to be a tube inside. This is just a 3D printed version. And as it's collecting samples, it's going to have samples that go directly into the tube.
Is that a mock-up? That looks like a mock-up.
3D printed tube here.
It's not the actual working replica.
It's acquiring the sample. Once it's done, it's going to dock with the bit carousel here. It's going to ingest the entire bit with the tube inside and the sample. It's going to rotate down to the belly, and there's going to be a little arm on the inside called the SHA, the sample handling arm, to manipulate it.
Yeah, that's what I talked about. Sample it,
assess the bulk
handling
and
arm.
then seal it.
That's fantastic. And so there's quite a bit of robotics happening between this part, the bit carousel, and getting it underneath. As we know, it's now underneath. But here's a special guest, and we're going to duck down. This is the Mars helicopter.
Yes,
and
Ingenuity.
Moo, this thing is going to be actually tucked up underneath the rover. It was a
Yeah,
limited
that's-
addition to this project.
it's gotta be great.
But it's probably one of the neatest things on it.
It is pretty amazing. 2,400 RPM.
They're only going to fly it for like
That's fast.
5 seconds, the first flight or something, or 10 seconds or something.
Super light.
It's only
And yeah,
it's only just going to go up. Just make sure it can hover and come back down. So yeah, don't expect anything on the first flight.
Pictures as well, right?
That's
Look at
right.
the blades.
Wow.
These blades turn, right?
model.
And they turn in opposite directions.
They
I
do,
understand.
they
Yeah.
do.
It will have a camera on it. It will shoot live or shoot video.
Yes.
That we will then get back. It'll shoot video of the
Cool.
rover as it's doing its work, right?
Yeah,
That'll be great.
spectacular. Look at the clearance. I mean, this rover needs to clear this.
They got drones on Mars now.
All right, well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for giving us the tour of the mock-up. It's just like the real one, except for it's not going to Mars. Well, thank you so much. And so by now you may have heard that this Perseverance rover was named by a
Quite a bit of robotics, understatement of the year.
which is very special
Yes,
to us.
Ash.
And so we asked Hidden Figures actress Octavia Spencer to tell you why the Perseverance name is more than just a name to us here at NASA.
Why do we need an actress to tell us?
Species of explorers, believers.
No. Give me an engineer.
We are willing to do the hard things to overcome the many challenges.
Most people have not heard that full speech, the full Kennedy speech. They just get the highlights, and the highlights have been edited together. It's not. It's quite a different speech when you listen to it.
Yet,
you know, the full
even
thing.
when faced with tragedy and setbacks, we persevere. We keep striving. We keep believing. From space, we see our planet as a whole.
DJI would need to connect back to China to work.
We face those challenges.
How many travel months? Anyway, what's the time now? 10:24, almost 10:30.
We refuse to accept the status.
Yes, I did get a pass from
The time at hand is
Mrs.
hard.
EV blog to come back to the office and do it.
We can still draw hope from the moon and the stars.
Yeah, I've watched Hidden Figures. It was okay.
From exploration.
I wasn't blown away by it. It was, you know, it was so, it's just so unrealistic in terms of just the management of it. It's like, oh yeah, the human computer and the guy who's in charge of the human computer division is like in mission control talking to, you know, like it was just ridiculous. It was like they were the only ones doing the job, you know. It's like
We are a species of explorers.
context means nothing these days. Yeah, I agree. Context is gone in modern society.
We meet many obstacles on our way to Mars. But as humans, will not give up. We will always.
No, it wasn't Johnson. Kennedy's the one who. Kennedy's the one who took them to the moon. It was yeah, he was like he was like crazy nuts. It was like it shocked everyone at NASA. Everyone's going like he makes the announcement, and it's like, well, like he only asked like a couple of people, and it's like everyone's going, oh shit, can we do this? I don't know.
Dr. Z, thank you so much for coming over here.
God, I'm so glad I'm here, and I'm
No
so
sound.
relieved. You know, we have a space mission. We're in touch with the spacecraft, you know, and everything is nominal. We're waiting, of course, for the second burn. But not quite
Johnson
there.
pushed
We're
it for a
really
while. He
Yeah.
was still in Congress,
so
was he?
Tell us what
Okay.
makes going to Mars incredibly hard.
So there's really two pieces that make it hard. The first one is what we're doing today.
Oh yeah,
which is
it's hard
we
and
really
expensive
need
to send
head-
peeps.
Head in the right direction.
Once you
So
send
take it
humans,
off
us
the Earth and have a
fleshy,
lot of
meaty
energy, and
robots.
exactly in the right direction, because what you want to make sure
Yep.
is in February when
I don't watch Electro Boom. I don't watch every. I only
there so
watch
you can
the
get
occasional
action. The
video if
second
it interests me.
which
I don't
is
watch
the
every
one
video.
That's going to make us nervous in February is to entry, descent, and land. You know, so the Mars atmosphere is almost the worst of all worlds. If it was really
Who's
thick,
Professor
we could
Buzzkill?
do what we're doing on Earth, which just go in and with parachutes. If there was
Don't know
none
Professor
of that there,
Buzzkill.
you could do, you know, what we do at the moon. When in Mars, you have to do both on top of each other, which makes it 10 times harder than any of the other two, and so that's what makes it so hard.
You've
Got told to bugger off. Yes, pretty much. If I want to stream it, yeah, I can't stream it from home. Don't even have a webcam at home.
Why another
Right.
rover? And you gave a pretty impassioned response. Why is this rover important in your mind to the work that so many people are doing in science?
So it's really kind of a key.
That reminds me, one of the tabs I've had open for like 2 weeks. Yes, I leave my tabs open as a reminder to myself. One of the tabs I've got open is Paul Horowitz, as in Horowitz and Hill. fame. He's talking about SETI, and I want to get him on the AMP. I was thinking about inviting him on the AMP Hour to talk about SETI stuff. Or maybe we'd do it like a Zoom call or something.
It's really for
So,
the first time in decades.
need to get off my ass and do that, because I do know him.
We're ready for it.
Got direct contact
It's
with
the
him.
next step, and of course there's others coming. Dragonfly.
Yeah.
We're already thinking about, and other missions. We want to, of course, go to Enceladus in Europa. And
Only an
really
idiot
learn
wants to
about
go to
life there
Mars.
also. So it's an amazing first in that respect.
I can understand if you're an astronaut and you want to go there and come back. And only an idiot wants to go there and stay there.
In these places.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so we want to do a social media question real
Yeah,
quick,
we
if
have
that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
We have a question from Twitter. What is the key difference between previous NASA missions, rover missions, to Mars, like Spirit, Opportunity, Curiosity, and Perseverance rover? In what way is Perseverance unique from the previous ones?
So there's a fundamental difference in the approach.
No, my SETI
the
Pi
fundamental
farms aren't
difference is
working. I've got
that we decided.
no, they all got when the
put the
lab got moved around
instruments
due to the floods and
on
everything. I never got them
Perseverance,
back
the
up and
best
working.
geology
And
instruments
I think
So we
I've got
can
one of them
find
doing something
the
else,
right
and
samples.
it's
And we
yeah.
decided not to put a chemistry lab on it. Guess why? We don't know which one yet. And so
good
what
point.
we're doing is we're actually collecting the samples that we're going to bring to the best labs that are available to humanity, which are the labs all over the world. And that's the choice here. And that's
There's
of course,
a,
to do that we need to do another first, which is humanity's first
What's the
round
name
trip
of
to
it?
another planet. And that's what
High
makes it
Moon. It's called
got more
High
with the launch
Moon.
operation to
There's
go,
a
but real
apparently
quick,
it's a
how'd you
TV
feel
series.
about
It was a
that
TV series called High
It's like
Moon,
punching a hole in the
and
sky,
I think
right?
it's probably the only space movie I haven't seen. Mars or Moon movie I haven't seen. And I tried to find it, couldn't get it.
Every time it gets me.
All right.
It's
very
on,
good. Dr. Thomas Zurbuchen.
I think it's
Thank
on
you for
Amazon
joining us.
Prime,
We
but it's in the
appreciate you
US
being
and we
here
don't get it.
explaining
I've got
all the
Amazon,
science
I've
and
got
the
Prime
excitement that's
Video
coming up.
here, and it's not there, and I couldn't get it anywhere
That
else,
was
and
Talk
it's
to
like, oh
Scientists
god.
and engineers, and we have
Anyway.
shared highlights of the mission and tech demonstrations that are central to the Perseverance rover. And folks, we have a lot more to share.
Mars Perseverance has been
Why
flying
would they
in
send a
space
botanist
for
to
more
Mars?
than
Because you have to try and
half
grow
hour now.
stuff.
Let's check
That's
back
the
in
whole
with
idea.
Dr.
That
Mick
was the whole
to recap
premise
the
of
flight so far and tell us what's coming
that.
up next.
Was
Hey, thanks, Moo. Yeah, as you're
that
seeing
they
on the
have
screen
to,
there, that is an
yeah, because they're
information
for human settlement. They
Centaur
wanted to
in
grow
motion
things, so
around
they want to
Earth,
learn how
orbit
to grow
around
things.
Earth.
So yeah,
You
you'd
can
send
see
a
there, like I
botanist.
mentioned, the animation being driven by real telemetry data. Mick, how is the report coming back from the first burn and then currently our coast phase?
So we're hearing from Jesse
I have a
Gonzalez
video
and
explaining how the
engineering teams
electronics
that everything so
survive
far has been nominal. Centaur
the
been
solar
performing
they're
well.
radiation
Also,
hardened.
firings have been going great, which is keeping the fuel that's still in the tank where it needs to be as we get ready to come up on main engine
Space
start
Camp,
two
yeah, I
for the
watched
second
Space
burn,
Camp with
which is very
Sagan. The
important
family,
to get us our velocity
the family watched
into
it like
that
last
transfer
month.
orbit to
Space
Mars.
Camp.
Yeah, so that will be up in just
Yep.
a few minutes. But
It's
I
very
think we're gonna
campy.
actually send you back out to our main desk to hear. Oh, so sorry. I'm being held. We're going to hang out here. So coming up. So talk about C3, Mick. This is something that we talked about.
No, it's not just a matter of VPN. It's a matter of I've got a Amazon Prime Australia account. I don't think it'll give me access, even if I've got a VPN.
Yeah, so C3 is basically just the technical term that we use in the aerospace industry to refer to the velocity that we need to get.
I bet $100,000 Dave will not read this comment aloud.
Pounds of thrust that we left Earth this morning.
That's not how you spell aloud.
4 solids on the Dominator.
Even I know that, and I'm an engineer and I can't spell.
I'm going to take that one from Tori. But we got off here and into the park orbit with the proper velocity we needed. And then, of course, this second burn is so important for the velocity we need to get in transfer orbit.
Awesome. So the Dominator punching a hole in the sky, as Dr. Zurbuchen said. So we will send it back out now to the main desk and be back with you in just a minute to catch that second burn. Daryl?
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, we watched Flight of the Navigator as well.
Talk about how special
Yep.
these missions are.
Yep.
Is Dr. Michael Watkins.
Yeah, the kids
He's the director of
loved
Jet
them.
Propulsion
And we
Laboratory in
watched
California,
what
which
was the
planned
other one?
Perseverance's mission to
The one
Mars.
where the kids
That's
make
my
a
home
spaceship
center.
and
Thank you
they
for joining us, Dr.
and they go into space and they meet up with these aliens. They meet up with an alien ship. Oh god, what's it called?
Why are
What's it
missions
called?
hard
These two
to
kids in the garage build a
But I think they're unique for two ways. And one is
build
just-
a
it's just
build a
Mars.
spaceship.
It's been in our imagination for centuries. It's a place that looks like the Earth. It looks like it could be home to us. It looks
They
like
they
it
well they
was
invent
once
hovering
to
technology,
what could have been
and
like.
they invent
And the fact that we can get
yeah
there, get there
like
in
a
couple of years,
hovering
we can
force
send
shield or
missions, and we
something
can
goes
build on
around,
those
and then they just build a like a ship out of
you can learn
scrap
from your mistakes,
or whatever, and they got
from your
these
successes.
like
One of the
old World War
things
II
I
face
like to
gas
joke
masks or
about is,
something,
we say
and
perseverance looks like
they
curiosity,
turned on and
but
they can
the
fly
people
up
who
into.
built
It's
them
great.
Are the same. They look even more like each other. And so they, so a lot of our folks worked on Mars Pathfinder.
Ask you about any 80s movie. Ask me about any 80s movie. Okay, I'll ask about
that history, that
Electron Ash. Okay.
they're just world
How
leaders, and that's why
about
we're successful.
So you oversee the Jet Propulsion
name
Laboratory in California, and-
one
and
of
doing
Val
incredibly
Kilmer's first
complex
movies,
work.
comedy.
Why are these robotic
Name a Val
missions
Kilmer
so
comedy
hard?
from the 1980s.
They're hard because you can't really see what's
But you
going
got
on.
Google
You
in the
can't use your
background, so,
human
you know.
responses,
Don't know if you're
right?
cheating
you're
or not.
used to driving your car and you see what's happening and you turn the wheel. In this case,
Explorers,
we've got
yes,
to tell the
Explorers. Thank
rover-
you, Ethan Hunt.
We've got to prepare the rover to do a
Ethan
lot of
Hawke.
stuff on its own, right?
Ethan Hunt.
And so we've got to understand Mars. We've got to understand how the rover works.
Yes.
And we've got to put all that
Top
together
secret.
into a machine that can function more or less without us. So we talk to it once a day.
Real
and we
genius.
Say, how are you doing? And go over there
Yep.
and do these experiments. And then it's got to do that. So we kind of give it. Its
Old enough to
attention,
appreciate Galaxy
but then
Quest.
it's gotta
Nah,
do all
Galaxy
those
Quest is
activities by
a.
itself, and
Nah,
that's a
that's
challenge.
you got to
And the
be
further
old
away
to
from the Earth you
appreciate
get, the
that. I
harder it
think.
is. So you get out to Saturn, you get to Europa, you get beyond, and it becomes harder and harder.
Real quick, one question to wrap up. You've been in touch with the folks out at JPL. On air, there
Can't
was an
wait for the new
earthquake
Top
before
Gun.
that played out. It was a 3.9 magnitude. How is everybody doing? How's your team?
They're doing great. Our view is it's just Pasadena. It's just the Earth being excited about going to Mars.
Yeah, it's
So
actually
it
not
was a
bad.
very
I
minor
totally
earthquake. We have
agree.
a lot in
Yeah.
California.
Okay.
I haven't watched it in donkey's
maybe
years,
it's like
but
hurricanes here or something, but
Yeah.
tropical storms here.
Yeah.
But it was a very
no,
minor
Sneakers
event,
was
and everything's
90s.
fine, and, we were
Oh
on our way to
no,
Mars.
could have
Okay,
been
so a
early
little rumble here
2000s.
in Florida, some rumble in California.
Early
Works
to
out
mid
great.
2000s sneakers.
Mike Watkins, thank you so
No.
much. We appreciate you joining us on the broadcast.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Wasn't 80s.
Awesome.
I can guarantee you that.
We will have that conversation, conversation with Zena Cardman coming up.
Damn
Yeah,
right, I'm
we're
going to the
excited
cinema.
about.
That's right.
Yeah. On the other side.
Anyone
the
know when it
Centaur
comes out?
burn And spacecraft separation.
Orange Tiger
we
is
also
back.
highlight 6 major technologies that NASA's focusing
High
on over the
Moon.
next decade, including the critical energy.
Yes,
needs
it's a
for
series.
such
Yeah, I
missions.
tried to
But
find a
with that, let's turn our
suitable
attention to the next operational steps.
you know what
Joshua,
for it, but
you there?
no.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
here,
Sneakers
we're
was
excited.
90. Yeah,
We have a
Sneakers
fuel
was
pre-start call just
90s.
coming in. We are getting ready to hear the call for this second burn of that Centaur RL-10
Awesome,
engine.
Alex. You worked on some of
again,
the ground software.
Nick,
Fantastic.
Explain what this second burn is for.
So as we talked
Fantastic.
earlier, the second burn is really to get us that
Yeah,
velocity
Sneakers is
as we
great.
head
I
into
just
that
watched it
transfer
again,
orbit,
like
right?
last
Centaur
month.
in Mars 2020 will head into that solar orbit on its way with the proper velocity. We will
Yeah,
then,
Hackers was
get ready
90s.
to,
Yep.
separate
Angelina,
Mars 2020 on its
Angelina
way.
Jolie. Wow.
And I'm hearing that settling is done
And we have main engine
engine
start, too.
start.
There we go. Awesome.
Yeah,
And again,
Sneakers
the
is
animation
great.
there
I
being
always,
driven
if it's on,
by,
I've got to watch it. It's
actual
one of
telemetry
those.
data coming from that rocket.
But I
So
watched.
that's a phenomenal sign.
I was just
And
you know,
again,
bored
I
at
think it's-
midnight
It's tough with these
last
images.
month, and I watched
Perspective and
Sneakers.
scale are so important. This vehicle is in Earth orbit. It's not near anything, so you can't see the acceleration of what's
July
happening right
2,
now. But for 8 minutes, it's simply
2021.
picking up
Oh,
speed.
really?
Yeah, this is the burn that gets us really
Oh,
moving in the
that
direction
sucks.
we need to go. That fast velocity.
That's a
that we need
year.
to get out of our park orbit and head on our way to
Wow.
Mars. Of course, Centaur and Mars 2020 are still together.
System is in
And,
close
The Expanse. No, I started watching it. I wasn't that taken by it.
Was good, and
Sorry. I heard rave reviews about it. I think I watched the first
the animation there.
episode or so. I
Fantastic.
started to watch
so
and
this
I
is rocket science,
didn't
and
like
it's
it.
not easy. We actually want to bring in now. We have a special guest. This is Dr. Denton Gibson. Excuse me.
Yeah, the blind guy can
He
hear
is
the
a rocket
emergency
scientist,
lighting
special
batteries
pilot,
recharging.
senior
Yeah.
vehicle
I always thought that
systems
was a great
engineer.
line.
Denton, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Speaking about great lines from 80s movies, one that was left off. Go watch Jason Reitman and his dad, Ivan Reitman. They're at some Ghostbusters event last month or month before. It's in the last month or two. And they were giving, like, you know, they were at this Ghostbusters event and they were showing some... they got all the original footage out of the archives, like all the tapes, all the all the everything they shot, and they were just going through it, and they showed some clips that they haven't shown before, and there's this joke in it about nerve gas, and it is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant, and how. Oh man, they've got to re-release Ghostbusters just to add in the nerve gas joke. You've got, I won't tell you what it is, but it's just great. It's delivered with deadpan brilliance, and it's just
I want to take
fantastic.
A moment and say Denton's there at Hangar AE. That's the NASA Launch Services Program's hangar. They're very proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Anyway, I could pull it up, but. Yeah, go search for Ivan and Jason Reitman at some Ghostbusters event, giving a talk,
and these
you'll
processes of getting from Earth to Mars. Does Falcon 9 experience translate to Atlas, or are they completely separate?
So the overall process for many of these launch
got my Ghostbusters outfit here. It's right behind me.
Ship stages to the launch site and assemble the launch vehicles by stages. So in that sense, they're the same, but there's a lot of differences between the launch vehicles that may change that process a little bit, but in general, the processes are the same.
Yeah, and Joshua, I was going to say, Denton, I worked with Denton quite a bit over the years.
What, the burn is happening?
You know, he talks about the different vehicles he's
Something's
worked on.
happening?
But Denton is one of my senior vehicle engineers in LSP, and so although he's not totally supporting Atlas V today, he does have experience with Atlas V, and as he said, things are very similar. So using his experience,
tracking.
we're able
Nothing.
to train and
There's
bring
not
on
a single dish
of engineers, and
really?
Denton's been a huge part of that.
Not a single dish on the planet talking to anything at the moment,
if you will, to start working.
Oh, boo-hoo!
Yeah, awesome. So Denton, tell us a little bit about kind of what's involved, what goes in behind the scenes, what's the rocket science of going
nothing
from
listening,
Earth to Mars,
nothing transmitting.
This maneuver to go into solar orbit.
Yeah. So a lot of the things that happen behind the scenes it's a lot of analysis work done by our analysis teams.
Yeah, that's the one done, Pierce.
That are performed based on the orbit insertion, the performance.
Skyling other satellite pollution dramas are causing a problem. Yeah, of course it is.
Be able to get to this
it's
point.
Getting crowded up there.
We can transfer from Earth orbit into solar orbit.
2020 face mask odyssey.
That's for a lot of people. That's like the pinnacle. That's like, hey, I want to be a rocket scientist. So where do you go from here in your career? Because obviously, like, I'm sure there's lots of things that you'd like to go and accomplish.
Oh, Space 1999. Yeah, I can remember watching that as a kid.
One of the coolest things about this job of working in the launch services program is working the launch, right? I mean, who doesn't love a launch, and who doesn't love working launches?
Yeah, we love them. We love them. Excitement this morning, right?
You know your stuff, Electron Ash.
Of course. So, you know, one of the ideal jobs would be a launch director, because you get to work all the launches. I mean,
Very
cool
classic Egon, yeah.
No, yeah, that's true. And I guess you get to, is it right to say you call the shots, or is it that the buck stops with you, or how would you say that?
I'd say
should we do another Starfish Prime, should we?
Talked, right? Omar Baez
in space.
For Mars 2020,
just reset, Snake Plissken, 666 option. Let's go full Snake Plissken. Snake Plissken.
As Denton says, I think there's a lot of people that would love that job, and Denton's definitely looking at that next step.
How long can I hold a plank?
Omar and his assistant launch
I don't
manager,
know.
Tim Dunn, a heads up.
Don't think I've tried.
Dr. Gibson.
Dr. Gibson is on the way.
I've
awesome. Well,
never actually tried until absolute
snapshot. I know you have a mission coming up
exhaustion.
Later this year. What are you
working on?
You know, I've done it in classes, and we've had to hold a plank for a couple of minutes.
That one, as well as 6 as far as the LSP missions.
You know, we built the. We absolutely destroy our bodies, and then we've got to hold a plank for a couple of minutes at the end, or whatever.
I want to take a special moment
and
then
it's over. I could have kept going.
We've got a big day coming up.
Yes.
I don't know how long I can hold a plank.
That might kind of get in the mix here.
It's at least a couple of minutes. I can tell you that much.
Could create some problems. Otherwise, we've got Bob and Doug from Demo 2. They're coming home on August 2nd.
Yes, I was going to say, Joshua, that's important for us also in LSP. Denton was my lead.
Depends on how you hold it too. There's lots of little tricks to cheating in holding holding a plank for longer.
So it's really important for us to be able to support.
Oh God, Buck Rogers, yeah, they'll get the reboot, won't it?
As we launch
haven't
Mars
thought of it yet.
Today,
Snake is the best.
Which is another
Snake
step for us
Plissken.
getting humans to Mars, right? Is getting humans launched off of Earth soil was a huge step for.
Does Dave read these
American
texts?
soil.
Yes, I do.
Was a huge
Paul?
step for us.
Yeah, and so talk about that really briefly with LSP. Obviously,
Salvage
Jen Baer,
One,
appreciate him and
space
his
junk on the moon.
contribution, and you working towards commercial crew, but also supporting Artemis.
Salvage One.
Which is also
Might
part of
watch that
path of
tonight.
getting humans to Mars someday.
Thank you.
Artemis is
I
about
don't think
learning
I've
to live
seen
on the moon
Salvage
to
One. I
sustain
thought I'd
us there with
seen
the eyes
every
on Mars.
space,
So how is
like
LSP
a
supporting
Mars
Artemis?
and Moon
one of the
type
things there is the
movie
Gateway
there
program,
is.
right? Deep Space
Even the
Logistics
weird
that,
ones.
Is
what
working a lot
was
of that,
it?
and so LSP is in the works of supporting Gateway and helping them work with the commercial partners that are providing
Salvage
the rockets
One.
for those kind of missions.
'Cause
that
I
are
won't
out there
remember.
And future things. One of the cool things about working with the Launch Services
1979.
program is
Done.
that we work with all of our
I don't care
commercial
how bad it
partners,
is.
SpaceX, United Launch Alliance,
Space junk on the moon.
Northrop Grumman
Can
Space
anyone
Systems,
name?
and of course
Okay,
some up-and-comings.
Electron
You may
Ash.
have heard some, right? Like
Electron Ash is our resident
it's definitely a growing field in the aerospace industry, and
movie
LSP
buff.
takes pride
Electron
in
Ash.
working with those
Name the
commercial partners to
movie
figure out what we can do for NASA
that
and the country.
Awesome. Yeah, it is
a
it is
kid
an exciting time for spaceflight. The commercial
stows
space
away
industry is booming.
on a moon
There's
flight.
always new things happening. If you keep an eye on the news, you will see new things. We're getting
Kid
word now
stows
that
away
the-
on a moon flight.
The engine cutoff here should be happening momentarily. Once we see that happen, we'll have roughly, I believe,
You have
5
10 more
minutes
seconds.
until we actually see the spacecraft separation occur. So we're going to stay with you through that, but want to kind of just preview that for you. That hopefully on screen here you should be seeing
Oh,
that
Rich-
engine cut off, and that's
Rich
completely
knows it.
expected. That's a nominal
Saw that movie.
operation. as you say,
Nominal
Nick.
operation. We'll hear from Jesse Gonzalez, who's looking
Nah,
at the
hibernation
people
pod is not going to
telemetry
happen in the next 15
and
years.
watching
It's not going to happen in the
animation
next
there.
150
let's
years.
listen in for Jesse here.
And there's the call, and there's
Yep.
the animation again, modified based on
The
data. So
RL-10 shutdown
let's
parameters
talk
look
about
good.
Stowaway.
communication for a minute, Nick, because it is not
To the
an
moon.
automatic thing to just
seeing,
shoot
different
information at Earth and have that be usable. So how do we go about communicating not only through launch, but on the way to Mars, and then once we're at Mars?
Yeah,
I
so the
assume that
important thing this morning
test,
is when we lifted off from,
the user
from
test
Complex
is like a
41
bot.
Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. We had ground stations that were looking at the launch vehicle and tracked it all the way to provide data. Once we got onto orbit after stage separation, you heard a call out for TDRS, the telemetry network that NASA owns, which, by the way, is also used for the
Nate
ISS.
Plissken is
Yeah,
number
will be
one.
used hopefully for the landing with Doug and them.
Yes.
So getting off the ground today was great because we could
Snakes on a
deconflict some
plane.
of that
I still
TDRS
haven't
usage,
seen
right?
snakes on a plane. I
But
can't
TDRS
believe I
is
haven't
very
seen
important
snakes
for
on a
us to
plane.
be able to get the
I have
telemetry from
not
the launch
seen it.
vehicle back
I think
down
I
to
went
Earth
to
here. And
once,
of
and
course,
then
when
I
Mars 2020
got
separates
sidetracked.
and gets
And
on its way to Mars.
anyway,
then
Salvage
the
One.
JPL team will take advantage of NASA's Deep Space Network, which has been around for a long time, to be able to transmit commands and data back and forth to the Mars 2020. So it takes a
Salvage
lot
One,
of folks
American
to
science
work
fiction
those,
series
and the
broadcast.
TDRS
Oh,
and Deep
16
Space
episodes.
Network are
Oh,
very
right. So it's not a
important,
right.
not only the
Okay.
science missions, but human space flight also.
Yeah, and I think
To
the
high
coordination
high
of that's something
ratings.
that
This
people
show is one of
don't
the
get a chance
first
to understand much,
Columbia
because, as you
Pictures
said,
Television.
We're using TDRS for crew return. We use TDRS for space station, and TDRS is not an unlimited resource. We have a good number
Right,
of
it's a
TDRS
series. I
satellites
don't know if I
that
have the
help us do
time
these
to.
things,
I
but it is a
don't like
coordinated
series. I
effort
much
across the
prefer
globe,
movies.
because we even have ground
I'm
stations
more of a movie
in
person.
Australia. I think where are all of our ground stations even?
We have ground stations everywhere, not only here in America on the West Coast and East Coast, but then you get into South Africa.
No, I
area,
definitely want to see snakes on a
Australia,
plane.
You said we have several ground stations that catch up different things for missions, but of course in orbit, TDRS and the Deep Space Network are very important. And as you said, there's not an unlimited.
There's a
amount of
B-movie
resources
rip-off,
that
Snakes on a
network,
Train,
so
really?
We have to
Oh,
coordinate
geez.
those things within the NASA agency and
Sharknado.
with our commercial
I'm
partners
not
when they're
into
used,
Sharknado.
for our
I've
launches.
seen
And again, that's another
most
part
of it.
what NASA does as an agency.
Yeah, so just on that note, kind of thinking about around the world, currently.
Yeah, so I've
the
heard. You
spacecraft
can
is
skip
roughly
the whole
over
thing.
South
The
Indian
plot is
Ocean.
in the title.
So that's just thinking
Yeah.
about how fast we're moving. Just the amazing.
They built
world
the
of
rocket
spaceflight.
capsule
It's just
out of
hard
a
to put into
cement
words
truck,
sometimes, but
really?
We're literally flying around the Earth, and we're already halfway around it. And so I want to talk actually about planetary protection.
Yes,
I know we heard
I
about
highly
that
recommend
from Lou,
Command and Control.
about how they're working
Yes.
to protect Mars.
It's excellent.
From
Also, the book.
contamination, so to
The
speak,
book
just
is excellent
putting things
as
there
well.
we don't want, and we have to consider.
highly
that, and
recommend the
ULA has
book.
to consider that when they're
Command and
flying
Control.
to Mars and delivering the spacecraft.
Yeah, it's a combined team. ULA, JPL, LSP. Had
It's
to look at that,
yeah, it's
for,
phenomenally good.
When we get ready for spacecraft separation information here.
Yeah,
about
the doco
One
is a
of the things
good
we talked
summary of the
earlier is
book.
that Centaur and Mars 2020 are
Stowaway
on
to the
same
moon.
path towards Mars
Yeah,
right now.
1975.
So once
Yeah,
we
that'd be
separate,
about the
Centaur will
vintage
do
of
a
Stowaway
CCAM
to the
maneuver,
moon.
what we call a contamination and control avoidance maneuver, and then blow down what's left of propellants in its tank. And by doing that, we have now put Centaur on a different track so that it will not intercept.
Yeah, I think
Mars
that the
or
whole
interfere with
hibernation
Mars
thing is
2020 at
bullshit.
all
It's not going to
for
happen.
approximately the next 50 years.
Yeah.
And that took a lot of work by the JPL team.
If we
and
can't
the
achieve
launch team to
hibernation
make sure
pods,
that
how do you
happens.
think
So
we will
again,
travel in
another
space? Well, we
planetary
don't.
protection maneuver that had to be done.
Yeah, and I understand from the
you know,
telemetry
look,
experts in LSP that this rocket
People are,
actually,
you know,
after the
thinking this
second
stuff
burn,
is going to
does
happen.
not
It's
actually
like
aim
it's
straight
not
at
going to
Mars
happen
for
in
that
our
reason. It's
lifetimes.
actually
It's not
aimed
going to
straight
happen
off
in
of
our
Mars.
kids'
And so
lifetimes.
Perseverance, Mars 2020, will redirect itself
Sorry,
just slightly.
it's
We're not
just
talking
like
about,
maybe
7
there'll be
months, a
some
little bit of
propulsive
difference
thing,
here
but
makes a
like
lot of difference later.
you know how
So,
much food and
Josh,
shit you have to
we
take
heard
to get to
Jesse
Jupiter.
telling us that Centaur
Food
is,
and water and
spinning
every,
up.
like
This
how
is
much
the
stuff
maneuver
you have to
right prior
produce to keep humans
spacecraft
alive just to get to
separation, where we
you know
into
the
a
moons of
cycle
Jupiter
to
or
give
something
a
like that.
Mars
Let alone
2020
to like don't even
Centaur
like
tank pressure,
get into another
stability,
star is
very good
fantasy
performance
land.
from the RCS system,
Absolute fantasy
and
land.
stable indications from the avionics.
It's not going to happen.
as well.
So
Doesn't
RCS,
mean you
the
shouldn't be
reaction control
investigating,
system,
you
that's
know,
those small, the series of those small
actual
engines that keep
propulsive
firing around the
technologies that
spacecraft.
can, you
Those
know,
are
get
used
us to,
for
you
that
know, quarter of the
in-flight,
speed of light or
operations, bringing
something.
The rolling activities,
Fine, but
as Mick's saying,
you
it's
know.
basically providing stability to the flight. Of
But the
Mars
problem
2020 as
is
we go forward. Tell us
the
about
energy
actually-
required, right? People don't realize this.
with the
Okay,
Perseverance
why don't you just fly faster to Mars?
We got some
The
nice
problem
applause
is,
there. That is a big
the
moment.
faster
We
you
are
fly
hoping to
there,
get some live video back
not
from,
only the more energy
because of the
used
time
to
delays
get
with
there,
communicating
you
with
have to
Defense
use
Space.
the same
We don't
amount
have
of
at this
fuel
instant. We're hoping
to
we'll get
slow
see that here in a few
down
minutes.
than you
And we'll
did
bring that to
getting
you when
there.
we do.
So,
But tell us
like,
about
you can't
the
just
separation
haul us.
maneuver, 'cause
Like,
the
it's why
apparatus,
the
actual
it's why the Pluto, the New Horizons Pluto probe couldn't slow down and orbit. Couldn't orbit Pluto because it didn't have it used up all its fuel getting there, right? It could not. It was going so fast it could not slow down. It requires the same amount of energy to slow down as it did to accelerate to get there in the first place. So, you know, you can't just you can't just fly somewhere super quick. Like you can't just accelerate using some ion drive and then you know and then think you can slow down using that same ion drive. It's like no, you know, it's not that easy. So I believe that's how it works. So yep.
But with the pandemic and everything, people
Mars attacks.
their distance, taking the guidelines seriously.
Yes. Is Command and Control on Netflix? It was. I'm not sure if it still is because they keep removing shit. It's unbelievable. Why do Netflix keep removing stuff? It's unbelievable.
Seeing spacecraft separation.
And why don't we get all the same stuff in Australia as they do in the US? It's ridiculous. The company's already bought the bloody rights to it. Are they regional rights as well? You're going to pay? It's bloody ridiculous. The whole system's retarded.
Not there yet.
Yeah, as you heard Omar earlier in the broadcast say, a lot of us, when we started this, when the pandemic started, we kind of thought Mars 2020 might be Mars 2022.
Yeah.
But Mr. Bridenstine, the NASA agency, decided to move forward. The teams found ways to do this. As we heard, they were disciplined.
The acceleration would kill you.
And,
I don't know, but it needs a lot of shit ton of energy.
With a successful launch at 750, and now spacecraft separation, Mars 2020, Perseverance and Ingenuity on their way to the red planet.
Yes, the radiation. Everyone keeps talking, oh, we'll just live on the moons of Jupiter. Like, yeah, go. See how long you last.
We teased it, yeah.
Unbelievable.
So the separation
yes, the radiation would kill you.
Actually designed
like within hours, apparently. Like it would, like you'd be dead.
Design, but it has some spring systems in it that once the signal is sent and the bolts release the clamp band, the springs basically just give just enough force to push the spacecraft.
No, it's KISS KSS 2000. Would you expect the technology we have compared to 20 years ago? I mean, yes, because you can see things, like you can see the progression. Right? You can't see the progression to hibernation, to stasis. It's just like, it's just, there's lots of fundamental biology there that prevents you doing that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but where, like, it's not, 20 years is not, like, and, you know, and like
beautiful thought that
traveling
is.
at the quarter of the speed of light.
Tracking the
Good luck.
spacecraft since launch,
Like,
with its tracking and data relay satellite system,
you would have to
I know
use a
the mission
nuclear
control team at JPL is
powered,
turning
you
their
know.
attention to the
Oh,
next
we're
milestone.
back.
And
Oh,
that is
deep space
ensuring
now.
that
Maybe
the
it just
array
shut off.
communication antennas
Juno's
known
back.
as the
Soho's back.
Space Network, or
Osiris
DSS,
X
begin
is
to
back.
receive a signal from the spacecraft flying the Perseverance rover to Mars.
But no Mars
We expect to see
2020.
the teams acquire the signal close to 9:14 Eastern Time. Though, as you saw,
It's the same thing, and I've done a dedicated video on this second channel, pulled from my last live stream, about why we're not going to have a self-sustaining Mars colony. We're not going to have it in 20 years. We're not going to have it in 50. We're not going to have it in 100. We're probably not even going to have it in 500 years, because it's practically guaranteed. You cannot. People think, oh, let's have a self-sustaining colony on Mars because we need it just in case we kill ourselves here. If we kill ourselves here, the colony on Mars is dead. They will not survive. They do not have the resources on Mars do not have the infrastructure required to even make all the basic stuff to keep the colony sustained. It's just, people just don't realize the massive production and logistics infrastructure we have on this planet to manufacture just the basic stuff, like the shirts I'm wearing, to manufacture the chips. They make everything run, to manufacture, you can manufacture your raw materials, and you can make, shelters and huts and things like that, but to keep all your electronics going, to keep everything else going, you can't manufacture that stuff there. You need such massive infrastructure and logistics and people to do it. It's just, you could not feed the amount of people, even if you had 1,000 giant domes with, 1 million people. You probably still couldn't do it. It's not going to happen. A self-sustaining colony on Mars is going to die. It's not going to happen in 500 years. We'd have to terraform the planet for it to happen. It'd have to be so massively, and it'd take hundreds of years to get to that point before you even had the resemblance of the infrastructure required on Mars that's required to even manufacture and produce basic stuff when all the stuff wears out, when all the electronics and all the chips die and everything's, and not to mention all the other stuff required. It's just ridiculous. Oh, just take along a 3D printer. We'll 3D print everything. Piss off.
We really don't know how to live.
Unbelievable. People think it's a fantasy land. Living in fantasy land if you think there's going to be a self-sustaining Mars colony. My kids won't be alive to see a self-sustaining Mars colony. Their kids, my kids' won't be alive to see a self-sustaining Mars colony.
When we go, we want to do it right.
Very good.
It's not going to happen.
How do you like that rover behind you? Huh?
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
I don't want a bloody Android software review channel. I don't give a shit about apps.
Absolutely.
From our audience who have been watching,
Oh,
so
great.
we appreciate
barely use
doing
any
that.
apps.
Our first question comes to us through Facebook. Thomas asks, will Perseverance land to investigate the landing site for a future manned mission in the same location?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Yes,
I think
living
one
on
of
Mars
the
would be
most interesting
horrible.
Things about doing a mission to Mars is choosing where you're
If
going
you
to
go there, you're probably going to die there.
You can imagine planning
And live in miserable conditions. There's nothing to do there. I said this in the other video as well. Going to the moon. It's like, set up a colony on the moon. We can get there in a couple of days. Tourists will pay, tourists will pay top dollar to go to the moon for a week. You can go to the moon for a week. Couple of weeks, you can have a holiday there, come back, once in a lifetime opportunity. It'll be the ultimate bucket list. Mars, nobody wants to be in a freaking tin can for 9 months with nothing to see, nothing to do, and then get to Mars with, once the novelty wears off after a couple of days or a week, that's it, and you've got to hang around for another year or something before the next bloody window and then spend 9 months coming back. No one's going to want to do it. It's ridiculous.
And then have something lift
It's
off
ridiculous.
Mars and come back.
Well, Zena Cardman, thank you so much for being here. You did a fantastic
Elon
job.
is wrong.
You were a great
Elon
guest.
is wrong.
Thank you so much.
You cannot have a self-sustaining Mars colony.
No doubt.
It's not going to, the backup. I'm talking about the backup thing. Have a colony on Mars that is something Earth blew up or did whatever. We destroyed ourselves. We're all dead. And the Mars colony will eventually die out. It will not be self-sustaining. They can't do it. And they're not going to be able to do it for hundreds of years, I can guarantee you. Yeah, living anywhere that doesn't have breathable atmosphere and pressure is just, it's just, come on. Try and do it. Try and set up a self-sustaining colony in the Antarctic. Try and do that. Good luck, right? And you've got oxygen there, and you've got pressure. It's just cold, right? Same temperature as on Mars, basically. Well, it can get warmer on Mars. Get up to 20 degrees on Mars on a good day, you know. Yeah, it's just, yeah, you need the Total Recall thing. You need the terraform. Yeah. Thank you, Demniatube. Maybe our robot AI children can live on Mars after they kill us. Yeah, the whole... I got a friend who's into body augmentation and tries to convince me to, you know, get implants and all sorts of, like, no thanks. We've done nothing to Earth's atmosphere. We've done nothing. The Earth doesn't even give a shit what we do to it. It's only us poor, pathetic, fragile humans with our fragile, you know, ecosystems that, our fragile, you know, the way we live. And, you know, the planet doesn't care if all the poles melt and the water rises, you know, 100 meters. The planet doesn't give a shit. Think positive. I'm thinking like an engineer.
NASA's first Mars rover were powered by solar energy.
Mars is not the kind of place to raise your kids. You betcha.
So NASA
They won't even have
upgraded
Netflix.
nuclear batteries provided by the Department of Energy. And joining us now is the Assistant Secretary for the Office of Nuclear Energy, Dr. Rita Barnwell. Thank you so much for being here.
Great, thank you for having me. Great to be here.
How did you enjoy the launch?
It was amazing.
Then how would we become an interplanetary species? Well, you've got to terraform the planet. You can't just live in... If you're going to live in spheres, you may as well just live in space. You may as well live in gigantic, those big, you know, huge, kilometer wide, you know, rotating artificial gravity space things. Like, you may as well live there. Like, you know, it's like... Look, I'm not saying it's eventually going to happen. We'll eventually colonize Mars, right? But people who think that we can just have a self-sustaining colony and do it with, like, this century is delusional. Absolutely freaking delusional. They don't know about the logistics of everything around them. Just look at everything you're wearing, everything around you, all the technology, all the stuff, and then imagine that, and having all that stuff, and then having all the stuff that requires to keep you alive on a daily basis, because Mars isn't habitable, right? So yes, you need the oxygen, you need the water, you need everything else, right? And it's just, it's ridiculous.
Materials into electricity.
God.
That's what we have up on the
self-sustaining.
That
Yep.
just got launched this morning.
Not going to happen.
It consists of two major elements: a heat source that
so the way it does
contains
happen
fuel,
is it takes 500 years, right? It takes 500 years of building up, hundreds and hundreds of years of building up massive colonies on Mars, and then building up, slowly building up at least the resemblance of the infrastructure required, minimum infrastructure required, to become self-sustaining. We're talking hundreds of years, not 50 years, not this century. It's bullshit. Hundreds of years, absolute minimum.
Planetary bodies with atmospheres just like Mars, as well as in the vacuum of space.
It's amazing the longevity of that battery.
Yeah, I heard it could last up to 14 years.
Right.
Will it actually last longer than that duration?
It can, and actually right now it was 17 years, 3 years here, and then 14 years out.
We don't wear masks here in
itself.
Australia.
So we're very excited about that. That's one of the benefits of powering this mission with nuclear energy. The RPSs that are currently powering Voyager 1 and 2.
Yeah, on Earth we still rely heavily on things that can take billions of years to create, oil, food chain, ecosystems, etc. Oh yeah, just making plastics, for example. You need oil to make plastics, you know, it's like...
Great extent of time. The MMRTG is essentially, it's a nuclear battery, like you said, and it contains only
the Tesla fanboys can
plutonium
kiss my
dioxide
ass.
fuel, and it provides 2,000 watts of thermal power. It's similar, the material that's used in this is similar to what was used in the two Viking spacecraft.
It's been 50 years since we were last on the moon. Live on Mars? What a joke.
So this technology has been around a long time.
Oh, no, you can live there. Well, no, live. You can survive there. You can survive on Mars, assuming nothing goes wrong. You can survive there, but you're not going to have a self-sustaining colony. So... everything will still have to be, like, I'm talking long-term survival. Like, you know, we could set up a colony on Mars, right, in the next 20 years. And people could live there, and you could send enough stuff there, and enough spares, and enough everything, and assuming that you can feed yourself, you know, assuming you can get, say, 1,000 people there. And you can, assuming you can build the infrastructure to feed 1,000 people and sustain the lives of, you know, thousands of people. Assuming you can build that infrastructure, if Earth suddenly blew up, then how long would that colony last? How long would it last before everything starts to break down? The spares are no good. You know, you might be able to last 20 years, 50 years. Like, it'll eventually die out because you just, you know, it's not like you can just wander outside and, you know, and start, you know, it's just...
for LSP.
That
means that
no.
the video,
no.
requirements from the spacecraft, and then ensuring that they're able to go ahead and
yeah, a moon vacation. There's totally the future is tourism, moon tourism. I guarantee you.
Say Jessica's one of our wizards.
Once the first person, once one person comes back from the moon with a selfie of them, like, you know, holding up, like, or putting their thumb and covering the Earth, or holding up the Earth like this, you know, it'll be a tiny dot. You've got to get you've got to, you know, it's really difficult to get the angles and the scale right. But anyway, you know, like doing the Atlas holding up the Earth, or, you know, it'll be the Leaning Tower of Pisa thing with the, you know, with the Earth. Once people start posting that, then all the rich bastards will go, shit, I'm going to spend, or even, you know, moderately wealthy people will go, I'm going to spend my life savings, I'm going to the damn moon. And, you know, and that's my 2 weeks, you know, go for a couple of week trip. And I guarantee you, people will start flocking,
about 2.5
man.
years on this mission. About 2 years out, we start
Guarantee
working
it.
with JPL to go ahead and get those.
It's gonna happen.
And then we've been working with them since to go ahead and get a processing video, and also being able to talk back
Nuke
to
it from
JPL,
orbit.
being able to talk to headquarters and stuff like that.
Awesome. And so, what's been the biggest challenge?
Yeah, if you have an
mission?
accident on the moon, on the Mars colony, you're gone. You know, it's like.
Teams, but for you, where has that challenge lied?
So we have a ton of experience from different mission comm engineers from the past, and so the most unique thing about this mission has been our treatment
Collect
of
spores,
COVID.
molds, and
And
fungus.
it's amazing what we've done to go ahead and keep the control room
Ah, yeah,
safe
right.
for all of the
Scroll down,
people
yes.
on console, and to go ahead and launch this mission on time and successfully.
Casio aficionados present.
We have the data coming back,
Yeah.
so that means that
Woo!
I think that means you did your job really well today.
I would say they did their job great, Joshua. They found new ways, as we talked earlier with the launch team, finding new ways to their stuff. The folks out
Yeah, I
in
don't know how
UAE
much.
also
it's
found
11
new
o'clock.
ways to
I
make
should
sure that
think
all
about start going home soon.
Fleet Insight assessment
Trust me, if it gets to
support today's
midnight,
launch. So that team
I'll
out
be
there
getting a
has done
call
great
from the
job.
wife.
They actually make
She'll
us
pretend to be
and
asleep, but
engineering
really
look
she
good.
stays
So we
up waiting for
appreciate
me
all
to
the
come
work you
home.
guys do, Jessica.
Yeah, awesome. Jessica, congratulations. Job well done. Thank you for joining us for this interview today.
Thanks.
All right, so Mick, things are
Planes
pretty
on
wide
Mars
now,
aren't
and
possible.
that's expected.
You can't carry
because
the
we're just
weight.
hanging out for the signal acquisition. The time there is
You'd
is the
need rocket
estimate
planes. You'd
based
need,
on the
you know,
pre-launch data.
you can't do
right now,
helicopter
actually in the shade of the Earth
things you
so
would
we're
need, or
behind the Earth,
wings.
and so
You
we'll come
can't.
out of that at some point
Aerofoils aren't
shortly,
going to be good
and then
enough.
hopefully acquire that signal because there's some solar
Just
rays
cannot
that have
do
to
the
play
weight.
Here. So still kind
The
of
Mars
some,
copter
I don't know,
lifts like
tense
100
is
grams
right
or
word, but
something.
it's,
You know.
we're anxious still.
Yeah, I would say we're anxious. We're focused still. As I like to refer back to what Tori said earlier, right? Focused
Yep,
and
the moon trips will start with you can go to the moon, orbit around, and then come back. It'll start with that, and then there'll be landings. And yeah, I so want to see the movie Artemis from the book, from the Andy Weir book.
On console, they're still following their procedures.
Who's Breck Martin?
They're still performing everything that
Breck Martin is the hero we needed.
Some of the things that are going on here behind us is ground security.
Do I have any objections to rare earth material mining on celestial body, moons, asteroids, etc.? I've heard that to be a likely reason to return to the moon as well. No, I have no problem with mining the shit out of the moon. The moon's just an ancient rock that's just been floating in space. Let's mine the hell out of it. Can't do any damage to it. Even Mars, we could be there for 1,000 years and we'd still be like a speck on the surface. It's like I don't know. I've got no problem at all with mining moons and asteroids. I think hell yeah, go to the moon, mine the shit out of it, make it economical. Then set up tourist bases there, set up science bases. You can do some great science from the backside of the moon, for example. Yeah, absolutely. Go there, mine the shit out of it. Yes, much more appealing for the rescue side of things. Yep. Dude, Seggy, you wouldn't go to the moon. Really? Anyone who would want to go to Mars instead of the moon is crazy. Mars, what happens with Mars? You shoot off to Mars. You never see the Earth, right? You never, you can't look back, right? You can't be looking back out the window. Maybe they could somehow do. Anyway, you'd only see the moon for a couple of days. You'd be gonski, right? And then it just gets smaller and smaller and nothing. Then you've got nothing for 9 months. And then you land on Mars and it's probably a novelty for a week. And then you're just sitting there like, oh shit, what do we do? There's nothing to see, nothing to do. And no. And you're stuck there for like 6 or 9 months or whatever, a year, and then you got 9 months to come back in the nothingness of space, cooped up with a bunch of other tourists. No, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
And 34-meter antennas.
Whereas the moon is like a couple of days trip each way. It's nothing. It's like people. Trust me. Once it's safe enough, people will flock. They'll spend their life savings to go to the moon. And you go to the moon, you can bounce around, absolutely fantastic, and you can see the Earth. You're standing there, bouncing around, having fun. There's the Earth. Put your thumb up, cover it like this. Take your selfie. Fantastic, brilliant. Absolutely. Visit all the the relics or whatever if you can do that. They're so spread apart. You can't. But no, the moon. Only an idiot would want to subject themselves to going to Mars for a trip. It's not going to happen.
Very far away. Thankfully, Mars not as far away.
At midnight, I'm in the doghouse. Yeah.
So it takes
Dave, what activity would you think would attract aliens most if they were able to even detect us?
Wow, so what does
well, it's got to be nuclear, doesn't it? Or it's got to be. No, once you transmit, that's the sign of intelligence. So surely there was an alien species listening and they heard us. Not that they can get here. But if they heard us, then they'd have to be pretty close because they've only been transmitting since powerful enough since the 30s or something, 40s or whatever. Once you transmit, and that's a natural sign of intelligence. So you'd want to check it out. So I think that's we've been spewing that out for 100 years now almost.
Getting an acquisition of signal is a very
She isn't watching the stream. No, I don't think she's watching the stream. She never watches my videos. Pretty safe bet she's not watching the stream.
Yes, that's a very important.
Can't leave before it lands. Well, I was hoping to wait for the actual connection. Both Goldstone and Canberra are supposed to connect. Let me get another. See if there's a update.
It brings in the signal. It carries the signal to us. Therefore, we can see that signal and know that we're receiving data. And basically, we see the carrier signal. But after that, we have to decode what the signal's saying.
Yeah.
And hopefully what we're seeing is that the spacecraft is saying, hey, I'm doing okay. I'm on my way to Mars, and I'll see you there in 7 months. And so we expect to see that signal, and then we'll decode it and be able to get the health and safety of the spacecraft.
And there's a contest on apparently. They got 4 dishes here, 2 in Goldstone. These two DSS 24, 25, and 34 and 36 here in Canberra in Australia. And yes, there's a contest on to see who can actually receive it first. There's a contest between all the operators, the controllers, sorry, as they call it. Richard calls them.
Looking forward to hearing from Perseverance shortly.
Great. Thank you, Philip. Now, we are just a couple minutes away from the first opportunity we will have to see if the Perseverance signal on the Deep Space Network
a
is
couple
up
of
on
minutes.
our screens.
There you go.
That moment brings us one step closer to Mars.
Heard the audio in the background. So just watch these dishes to see who gets it first.
And I'm with Perseverance's Chief Engineer, Adam Stelzner, who will tell us what's in store for the rover. Adam, what should we expect to see next?
Well, Raquel, we are, after we acquire signal, we have left the building. We are on our way to Mars. We're no longer in orbit around Earth. And what will happen next is we will start our cruise phase.
Time until signal acquisition, minute 44.
We make it to
Didn't
the
know
red
that was
planet.
countdown. There you go.
We have a set of planned trajectory change maneuvers that we do during cruise.
I'll leave the audio running, but
adjust our targeting. In fact, we're targeting to miss Mars right now. We're on the way, general direction of Mars, but in order to make our Atlas Centaur, which threw us in the direction of Mars, not run into Mars, we're on a missing trajectory, and we'll do TCM-1, which will target our impact with the
so we're waiting
Martian
for signal
surface,
acquisition.
in a few days.
Who will get it first?
So,
Goldstone or Canberra?
we,
My money's on Canberra.
Start to monitor the spacecraft, make sure it's healthy and happy, and tweak its trajectory to be right on target by the time we make it to Mars.
Stay on
Great.
target.
Thank you so
Stay
much, Adam.
on
And
target.
Right now we are just a minute away from the acquisition of signal, so let's pause for a moment
The
and
Dish.
watch our team
Great movie,
at
The
work.
Dish. If anyone hasn't seen The Dish, you must see it. Got some great legacy hardware in it. It's fantastic. One of the best Australian comedies, The Dish. Absolutely brilliant. I so want to play cricket on The Dish. About the incomprehensible aliens thing, yeah, probably. But the distances are so vast, we'll never be able to communicate with them. There's no point even fantasizing over. Well, you can fantasize over it, you know. It's good science fiction, but science fiction it will remain. You cannot break the laws of physics, Captain. Come on. Who's going to receive it?
Ace Flight will be waiting for indication of acquisition of signal.
Canberra. Canberra got it, did they?
Ace copies.
I don't see the signal. Come on. He's going to win. Will we get any signal? Fingers crossed. Yeah, this froze. I'm not sure if it froze before or you hear no cheers in the background. Yay! Canberra got it. Canberra got it. 2 dishes up. 2 dishes. I saw signal. Or are they transmitting?
M20, MEM ready signed report initial acquisition.
They're reporting. Initial acquisition.
Copy that. Radio science.
Flight nav.
Yep, they got it. They're applauding.
Go ahead, nav. We're seeing one-way Delta.
34, CSAOS.
Didn't copy nav.
Yes, sir. We see AOS at 131531.
These copies. Thank you.
Yep. Go Canberra. Go Canberra. Receiving. Got one transmitted. Woohoo! Canberra did it.
Flight telecom, is about to pull up my continue.
We now have an acquisition of signals. The rumbles now are of claps and cheers, and it's an amazing moment. And
Awesome.
the years of blood, sweat, and
She
tears
woke
from
up.
every person who worked on this mission is now
Fantastic.
realized as Perseverance makes its way to Mars. Now, if we still have Adam here, Adam, I want to know your reaction to getting the acquisition of signal.
Well,
Oh, minus
very nice
102
to have
DBM.
the
Let's go have a
spacecraft
look
in
at the data.
Safe, separated, on its way to Mars. Nav looks good. We are hearing from the spacecraft. That was the only question. It's
Data
not
rate.
really much of a question.
2 kilobits per
but
second.
It's just nice to have that confirmation.
2.07 gig.
Our launch process is complete.
Transmitting at
The vehicle's
240
on its way to
watts.
Mars, and
'Cause you don't need
so
much,
the
it's not
next
far.
chapter in Perseverance's mission can begin.
Great. And what are you looking forward to next?
244 kilobits.
To,
Oh no,
ideally,
that's
a very quiet
source.
and boring
Soho?
cruise to
What?
Mars, as we prepare for the never boring and always
Minus 109.8
stressful entrance and
DBM.
landing on the 18th of February.
Great. Thank you so
That's the
much,
down
Adam.
signal?
And we
Oh, the up
hope
signal
you
was
tune
2
into our
kilobits.
coverage
Right.
of the landing happening on February 18th,
Sweet.
2021. Joshua and Mick, we here at JPL would like to thank you and the
Minus
entire
105.
Launch Service Program and United Launch Alliance teams for all your
8.41
amazing work
gigs.
today and all the work you do every day to make a launch
How many
like this
Janskis?
possible. Now, Joshua,
Anyone want
back to
to?
you.
Anyone want to give us Janskis?
Raquel, congratulations to you and the team over there. Obviously, JPL, I think Adam's
You win the
response is
internet
kind of what you'd
if you can give us
expect
the
from Adam of, like,
Janskis.
hey, check
First
that
person
box,
to give
but
us
we
the
got a lot of work
Janskis
to
wins
go.
the internet.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the work here for the launch team, exciting day.
Yes.
We got this done. Our portion of this is done.
A lot
Adam
of
and the
people
team now
think
have Mars
that,
2020 on the way, and they've got a lot of work in front of them, too. And
I'll turn the
hopefully
audio
it is a
back down.
quiet 7 months, and they get ready to go. But we are so
A
excited.
lot of
to be
people
able to
think
perform
that
this,
the
as a JPL customer. I know Tori Bruno and the ULA team are excited
What?
as well.
I wasn't looking at
And,
Soho.
I just can't be. I'm just.
Yeah.
I can't
I
be more
clicked on-
excited about how this went.
It
this
feels
morning.
good.
Mars
Hey, before we
2020.
sign off today, we want to check in with the NASA.
Yeah, I was
manager,
wondering why it said
Omar
Soho
Bias.
there.
Some thoughts from him. Omar,
Minus
can you give us your
106.
response after seeing a successful
How did I
process
click
this
on Soho? That's up there. Minus 92 DBM. There you go.
Okay, so about a minute ago, we did get acquisition.
All right, cool. Cool bananas.
That signifies
Yeah,
that
holding a press conference now.
JPL's Deep Space Network has locked onto the spacecraft. It's on its journey to Mars. Everything appears to be going nominally for them.
Yeah,
They'll
sorry.
check
Was
out
I
the
looking at Soho? I
spacecraft
don't know
now,
how.
do those checks
I
that
thought
they
I
need
clicked
to
on
do
those.
to learn how to fly that vehicle the way it wants to fly on its way to Mars. Pretty
Selected the wrong dish.
we
Oh.
separated them at approximately 25,000 miles an hour.
Well, you can get the area of the antenna.
It's going to take a little bit of a couple of months to
Data's
get
out there.
to that February 18th landing date, which they're targeting. So
Yeah,
it's an impressive amount of
See you, Segi.
speed.
Yeah, a lot of people think that, like, you know, Voyager 1 and 2 have the lowest power levels, you know, the lowest reception power levels, but they don't, because they actually have huge high gain dishes on them. They've got huge high gain dishes and, you know, fairly decent transmit power, even though they're outside the solar system. The reception levels from Voyager are actually higher. Apparently, it's, you know, it's not that difficult to hear the Voyagers. A lot of the other probes are actually lower power because of their smaller dishes, even though they're much closer in different power levels.
Up until the last 20 minutes, started to get exciting with some of the.
So yeah, that's one of the things I learned when I went to tracked the Voyager 2 down in Canberra. Yeah, I just assumed it would be the lowest level. You know?
mission director
No,
that,
it's got a big ass, 3-meter wide high gain dish on the thing.
in California at Pasadena that the folks in the control room felt. But they never lost signal, and they came
And
back
Goldstone is listening now
Said they were ready
too.
to proceed.
But Canberra got it. Canberra got the win. Somebody owes somebody a case of beer, I'm sure.
Perfect launch from what I could see visually here in the control room. The orbital parameters look dead
Oh,
on.
what did I just drink out of? Oh, right.
Velocity is dead on. So we're on our way to
Couldn't
Mars.
see anything.
There's no way back. So
Does it?
good luck
It
to
shouldn't.
the
No, it hasn't.
Mars 2020 team.
Hasn't
It's
vanished.
been a pleasure to be part of this. I've
Does
been
have green on it.
With this roving Mars community since Sojourner, and through Spirit, Opportunity, and Curiosity. So it's a pleasure to be once again part of that little bit that becomes that club, that auto club of roving on Mars. And I just want to say I'm very proud of this team. This team has worked diligently to get here. It's hard enough to get to Mars, throw in COVID. Today we're dealing with a small earthquake, the threat of a
DSS 34 and 36, they transmit. They're capable of transmitting.
an immense amount of pressure.
Yes,
on
it's a
the
tactical
team,
bottle.
and it's
They're
so
capable of transmitting.
relieving to be able to have gotten that mission off today on the first attempt. And with that, that closes the show for us.
Oh, right. It was a joke.
Awesome. Big
Okay, I
thanks to
thought you were
Omar.
talking about the green
Appreciate
screen
him and his
thing,
words.
because it should.
Obviously, a phenomenal effort
In
from all
theory,
five
the
of our
green.
teams we
Yes,
talked about.
yes, the green
So,
vanishes. Yes.
from LSP,
Yes, the
congrats
green
to this
does
team. JPL,
vanish.
Congrats to
Um,
the U.S. Space Force. Congrats to ULA. Thank you to ULA for hosting us today. And then the Department of Energy.
Space Force,
and a
US
special
Space Force.
thanks to a
Space
couple
Force is
groups,
great.
Congrats
If you
to
watch the
CEO and
Netflix
JIC.
series, that's pretty funny.
Those were two teams that were
It's
working
pretty
behind the
fun. It's
scenes
pretty
for over
cringeworthy,
3
but
years
geez,
to
it's
prepare
funny.
for
Malkovich is just
contingency
brilliant.
With the MMRTG. That's correct. Didn't have to exercise any of that work, which is what they wanted. Like that's
So
kind of one
they
of those
had a
things-
great day.
They had a great day. Yes, everybody had a great day. So, Mick, thanks to you as well for
Well,
joining.
they
me.
don't have to
Appreciate it, Jonathan.
transmit
Thanks for having
much.
me
They just
again.
have to
I've
go,
always loved
no,
doing
no,
this
change
with you.
mode or something.
Again,
you know?
excited about
Doesn't
the Mars
take. It
mission,
takes
and
bits.
as Omar
Doesn't
said,
take.
Our prayers and
Don't have
good
to
luck
send a
with
video
the
file.
JPL team. They've got a lot of work in front of them, and we're just so excited to get them on their way in a perfect launch and orbit today. So thanks again for having
They
me.
live.
Yeah, the countdown to Mars continues. That's going to do it for us at the ASOC for the launch of the Mars 2020 mission with the Perseverance rover. Daryl, back to you.
All right,
Thanks,
Mick Woltman
thank you,
and
AD.
Dr.
Even though
Santora,
you have
thank
no
both.
idea what I
Great
do.
job done by you, and
There's a few people who watch me who have no idea what I'm talking about. I don't know
here at
why.
NASA for
That's
the great
just
launch as well as United
okay.
Launch Alliance getting that
Each to
off.
their
And
own.
I got to congratulate you as well, Dr. Moo. You're with JPL. You've been working on this for 7 years.
Yes.
Congratulations. How does it feel?
It's amazing.
So,
to
yep,
have
that's
this
it.
phase of the mission
That's
cemented
it, folks. We are done and
is
dusted. I
amazing.
should
But like
call it
Adam
quits.
Said, there's so much more to go.
A lot of work to do.
Successful launch on its way to Mars. We assume it's heading in the right direction. And, well, it must be heading in the right direction because they would have calculated where it should be, and they pointed the dish there, and they talk, and they're hearing it. So,
But we've also had help
Yep.
from a number of countries around the world.
Norway, France, and Spain, just to name a few, but also the European and Japanese space agencies. Here now is a toast to all of those who helped us get to
2011
Mars and
Electron
help
Ash.
that
Wow,
Perseverance
you get
rover
less for
get
murder.
ready to fly.
yeah, go home. Yeah, I gotta do the cleanup. Gotta clean up, and I've got to watch Salvage 1, although it's a series, right? Oh. Jeez, I want to go home and watch a good space movie now. I might flick through one. Might not watch a full one. I might go watch The Martian. I might go watch like the highlights, fast forward through and just watch The Martian. After I've done the washing up.
Which means my heartfelt congratulations to all the teams involved in this magnificent
All right, yep, I better be going. Later. Thanks for joining me. Successful launch for those who have only just joined. Too bad, we're off.
for us.
Just like Mars 2020.
Our international
It's
efforts
off.
to reach Mars is more important
Terrific.
now than
So
it
back
ever
in
has
February, I think somebody said February 21st or something like that, February 12th or something. 2021. We'll be able to see that thing land. Oh, I'm still pissed. I am still so pissed. I hold a grudge. Sydney Observatory. Sydney bloody Observatory. I thought... Hang on.
If we persevere, we succeed.
Yeah, if we persevere, we succeed. Yep, thank you very much. And I like the other screen. The other screen's better. Hang on, I'll tell the story for those who don't know. Yes, when Curiosity rover landed, I thought, oh look, I'll go watch it somewhere that's kind of, you know, rather than just sit at home and watch it. I'll go watch it at the Sydney Observatory, right? Because they promoted that they had this live thing and there was going to be media there covering it and everything, right? So I actually took all my gear. I thought I might shoot something as well, but I ended up shooting nothing. I was just sitting there in this small room watching it live, and I thought, you know, Sydney Observatory, they'd be clued in, right? They'd be getting it right. And so I'm sitting there and I knew what time it was supposed to land and everything. And it's like, I'm looking at my watch going, what the fuck? And then like 5 minutes past, like a couple of minutes or something past when it's supposed to be landed. And they haven't even entered the 7 minutes of terror yet, right? Where it's plowing through the atmosphere. They haven't even gone into that yet. And I'm sitting, and I'm looking at the guy sitting next to me, and he's kind of looking at his watch, and he's looking, and we both look at each other going, what the fuck? And pointed at our watches, you know, because it's supposed to be silent, you know, and we're pointing at our watches, and we start whispering to each other, isn't it supposed to have landed yet? You know, and he goes, yeah. And I go, I thought so. And we start getting louder and louder, and... you know, chatting what the frig's going on. And somebody comes in, an official from the Sydney Observatory comes in, taps us both on the shoulders and says, shut up or leave. And I was like, fucking, like, what the hell's going on? And we, you know, and we got up and went out and we, talked to somebody and they said, oh, yeah, it's landed. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're actually delayed the thing 15 minutes. Why? I don't fucking know. Oh, man, we were pissed. We were absolutely, it just ruined the whole thing. Ruined the whole thing for us. And we were so pissed. Yeah. And then, yeah, so, and everyone walking out afterwards was like, I heard all the mumbling saying, that wasn't live. Fuck. God's sake. Could have just sat at home and watched it on telly. Anyway, there you go. That was, not going to make that mistake again. Unbelievable. In fact, it highlighted at the time, I think, that, I'll go in a minute, still got 2 minutes before past. A lot of, back then, it was a long time ago that Curiosity rover landed, what was it, 9 years ago or whatever, and the streaming technology, it wasn't as good as it was these days, and, in the interwebs bandwidths and the, all sorts of things, and the servers were getting overloaded and all sorts of stuff. Too many people were, people were complaining that they couldn't watch it because all their, it was just overloaded. There were so many people, millions of people trying to tune in, stream all this, and apparently all the, tons of countless people had problems with it. The people who didn't have problems were watching the TV, because TV is a broadcast mechanism. You don't have to, it's like one transmitter. It doesn't matter how many people are listening. It's so they'll watching the ABC. Should have watched it on the ABC. It requires zero internet bandwidth, or it requires one solid connection between the TV station and that's it. And then transmit out. Broadcast TV still, still beats streaming, hands down. Yep. Anyway. So maybe they were worried it would swear. Yeah, I don't know what their reason was. I think I approached them afterwards and said, "Hey, why was it not live? You promised that they advertised it. Come and watch it live at the Sydney Observatory. Really cool venue to come and watch it. And they're obviously space professionals, right? You'd think they'd want to watch it live. Nah, fucking bunch of dicks, really. Anyway, still bitter. still hold a grudge. It's like playing a VHS of the 69 moon landing just afterwards. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, what are we watching? We're watching the dishes at Canberra and Goldstone, M20, that's Mars 2020. They're talking. It's on its way to Mars and it's talking. It took half an hour for it to come in. But it's talking. That's Juno and that's the Hope mission also going to Mars. That one's having a chat. And, yep. No, the big dishes. The one in Canberra is it's down for a year. They're doing they're retrofitting the whole thing. They're overhauling the whole thing, putting all new electronics and receivers and everything in it. So yeah, it's down for a whole year. In fact, they've got some great. Go to the Canberra Twitter account, the Canberra Deep Space Network Twitter account. They got video of it, like installing, like just gigantic custom cranes come over and lift in like the new receiver modules and stuff. And yeah, it's really cool. Yep. Australian Tourist Board. Where the bloody hell are you? If you know the Australian ad. Throwing out a shrimp on the Barbie. Shrimp. Bloody hell. Prawns. Ah, really? Same thing in India. Oh, it was delayed. You were pissed too. Yeah. Yeah. Really sucked, man. I was so pissed off. Yep. So, yeah, I literally did not see it. I was so furious that it wasn't, like it wasn't just like it wasn't just 10 seconds, 30 seconds late or something. It was like 15 minutes delayed. Oh, man, it was ridiculous. So, yeah, I was so pissed that I just didn't end up seeing it. I had to go home and then watch the freaking reruns on YouTube of them all celebrating and everything. I was so pissed off. Yep. Tons of other people there were too. Anyone who gave a clue, Anyway, yep. I'm out of here. Thanks for joining me. And we've still got, how many we still got? Still got 244 people. Thank you very much. I think we peaked at like 300 and something people watching. I know there's lots of other space channels to watch. So I appreciate people watching me instead. Dumbass Dave watching the launch. Anyway, cool. Thanks. Catch you next time. It's almost midnight. I'm going home. How do I turn this bloody thing off?